Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
Home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, beer drinkers.
Get ready for an all-new experience in information exchange and beer culture.
Your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers from around the globe
right to your home.
You're not just listening to broadcasters, it's the Brewcasters
on the Brewing Network.
Oh, as usual, just running a couple minutes late.
Yes.
It's extra daylight savings time here at the Brewing Network. We add a good 4 minutes to that hour.
We lost an hour, but it's only 4 minutes late.
That's right. Go figure.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome everybody. It's going to be another great week of Brewing Network Radio. I can feel it.
It's high energy right now. I can sense it.
Absolutely. It started already this morning. The Blue Show was rocking.
Yeah.
Bunch of people hanging out, cool people, a lot of requests. A lot of feedback in the mailbox today.
I can't wait to hear.
It's going to be good stuff. We got Brian Hunt from Moonlight Brewing in the studio with us. Happy to have him. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you. Welcome.
And he brought kegs of beer. So I'm already in love. He brought 3 kegs of beer.
Oh, come on. They're 10-liter kegs.
They're still kegs.
They're still kegs. That's it. He doesn't, none of this couple of bottles, 6-pack business.
Yeah.
You know.
And a dolly.
The man brought a dolly full of beer. So, I am excited about drinking a lot of Moonlight beer tonight.
I'm sure
and, all we need is the proper fittings to be able to drink it out of the keg. Did we get that going, Brian?
Fittings we got.
See, we're all
ready.
We
got glasses.
And we got glasses. Now all we need is a bucket.
He brought
of
glasses too, by
and
the
you got
way.
thirst?
Man, I got thirst, and we got a lot of people in the studio today that are thirsty. Got our friend Aaron, who's always helping us out on the website and whatnot, hanging out with us.
Danielle's got her own microphone.
Yeah.
Your own official microphone, Danielle.
It's a great day. I'm feeling super trooper. I just told the chat.
Super trooper.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm so happy today. I just feel great.
Okay.
Great.
I'm telling you, everyone's feeling great.
It's energy, baby.
It's going all across the country today.
Yeah.
Because the listeners that were on the Blue Show, they weren't even in California. And they were feeling good.
Good. They weren't bluesy.
Guys were out carving pumpkins with their kids.
Oh.
And it was good fun.
Hey, sleeping late does help with that too.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. All right, so there you go. I promised you last week a change in format. No dilly-dallying around at the beginning of the show anymore. We're going to get right to it. So, our first segment, as you guys know, our mailbox here, our feedback emails have just been pouring in lately. So, it's time to do the mail.
Oh my God!
You've got mail.
Kick ass.
There you go.
Nice.
This week, guys.
All right, banjo music. All right.
Did that for you,
Poor
Doc.
duck.
It's our official mailroom music from now on, folks. Get
I
used
love
to
it.
it.
Well
Like
done.
that?
Mm-hmm.
We got our first hate mail, kids. And I am excited because that means we've made it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got our very first hate mail, and boy, does that excite me like no other.
Yeah.
Most people, you get that stuff, it's all negative, and people get all down on themselves. Not me. Boy, I smiled bigger than I have all day.
Start the show with it.
I was giddy when I read this sucker. It doesn't even say much. It's just the fact that it's hate mail.
Good.
And I feel good about it.
It's distinct and to the point.
Yeah, it is. So here you go. I'll just read it right to you. This is from one of our, one of our ex-listeners, I should say.
Oh, no. So we can't even get back at it.
Yeah, and he says this. Since you don't feel that responding to email is worth your time, we've decided that your show isn't worth our time. Goodbye. And then he goes on to say, this email cannot be used without the written permission of the sender. So F you, I just used it, buddy.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Sue me for reading your email? You sent it to me. And anyway, the topic of the thing is the word is out, even. So he's going to be telling people.
I never got the email.
Yeah, I'm going to just blame it on Doc.
What did he ask?
Well, here's what happened. He wrote to me on the 17th. So those of you who have written to me before and listened to the show for a while.
Hey, that's only like a week, man.
You know that like 2 weeks is nothing, man. A month, maybe start pushing, but 6 weeks is about my average.
You gotta figure at least a week, because if you want to bring it up on the show, we're not gonna answer it in an email. We're gonna pull it up on the show.
Well, actually, that's my second point. I answered his email on the show. The problem is, I think the guy doesn't listen live. His email, you guys will remember, listeners, because I asked you guys about it. I left the decision up to you. Basically, it's all about whether or not we segment our archives so that they're in 2 parts.
Yes, I remember that.
Because people that are on dial-up, sometimes they get cut off in the middle, and then they have to start all over again, downloading the entire thing. So they wanted to break it up into 2 parts.
Or the guys that want to listen to it MP3s, they want
to be able to stop.
They want to stop, like
having tracks, basically.
Exactly.
So he just said, "Hey, I'm one of the people still on dial-up. I can't download your things. Would you be able to cut them up into 2 parts?" So I asked the show about it, but he can't tune in, so he doesn't know that I responded that way to his email, and I didn't write back to him.
That's karma.
And I didn't write back to him. Yeah. And now I'm like,
hey, you should be honored that you didn't actually give him back an email. You put it on the show.
I put it on the show.
I think the word is out.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So there you go. Our very first hate mail. Enjoy it.
Wow. I thought it was gonna be worse.
Oh yeah, direct at you or something.
I just like how he abruptly ended our relationship. He just said goodbye. Wow. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
His loss.
Yeah. Even give me a
all this
around.
Cool information and fun that he's just not going to have with us anymore.
Because of an email.
Oh well.
Who is it anyway?
His name's Gary. That's all I know.
And you don't know which state from?
I know a Gary.
He didn't.
It's probably him.
I know a Gary too.
The only information he left is that do not read this email. That's basically all I know about old Gary.
Where's he from?
He left nothing. I don't know.
Damn him.
That's all he said. I apologize I didn't respond to your email via email, Gary, but it happens around here, and everybody knows that about me. And if you don't know, I just told you. So there you go. Yeah. All right, so how about we switch to a little praise for those of you who don't like the hate mail so much.
I kind of like the hate mail. It wasn't exactly directed at me, so.
Which is surprising.
I will some.
This one's from our old friend Paul. Goes by Code Writing Fool in the chat room.
Hey, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Hope none of these guys mind that I never asked their permission to read their stuff on the air. I don't care.
They'll let you know, I'm sure.
Paul called us right before the show just to let us know things weren't working. I appreciate that, too. All right. He basically just said that Sunday the 23rd show was more awesome than normal. Can't exactly say why, it just was. Everyone had great energy and it flowed really well.
Wow, I wasn't on that show.
That's why. So I was going to say, Paul, I'm going to tell you why. John wasn't here. No, but he said, great decision on giving Daniela her own microphone. John, she got your microphone last week.
And I got it back.
Now you got it back. I gave her her very own personal microphone.
Nice.
Thank you.
Other people
JP was throwing in
well.
little quips here and there.
Hey, look at Speak of the Devil.
Yeah. Dang, there he is.
No, what are you doing here?
Jason Petros just joined us in the studio, as he did last week, filling in for
He's
old
looking
John.
at me menacingly like I care.
Yeah. He had a few other things to say.
We should get him to fix the kegs.
Get old Jason to fix the
Yeah,
kegs?
exactly.
Go to work, buddy.
You can have some beer.
Basically just praising us, saying that Crotch had a good idea. You know our old friend Crotch Rod?
Yeah.
He took a CD of a bunch of our archives, brought them to his local homebrew shop, and now they play them at the homebrew shop all the time.
Wow.
So as people are shopping,
dang.
they're even asking the guy, hey, what are we listening to here? And then they're going home and checking us out.
See, B3 should do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plug into the internet and just play it over speakers.
That is awesome.
You guys should be playing our stuff all the time. Yeah, Crotch is awesome for doing that. And Paul said he's going to do it, too, at his local homebrew shop.
Awesome.
Yeah. Could we do it at our local homebrew shop, John?
No problem.
All right. I don't know why you didn't think of that, John.
Because, you know.
I'm working on it,
the
right?
East Coast is on an earlier time segment.
Yeah.
So they think of it first.
That's true. That's got to be it. This one, let's see, who's it from? Robert. He is from Tennessee. And he says, I got more information from your shows than I do damn near anywhere else. I like the fact that the information is presented in a manner simple enough for the average Joe, i.e. me, to understand without a doctorate in biochemistry. And that's me, by the way, because I'm an idiot. And if you guys can't present it to me like an idiot, then,
That's usually me. I start talking, and when Justin gets that glazed look on his face, I back off a little.
Yeah.
That's my gauge.
Go ahead and dumb that down for me a little bit, Doc. So, hey, thank you, Rob, and glad to help out. Questions, Doc. You're going to need to listen to these guys.
Okay.
This guy says, I personally love Hoegaarden. I've researched their recipe and understand that they use 2 yeast strains, one for fermentation and one for bottling. I used White Lab's wit yeast for the fermentation. Then I harvested and primed the yeast from the bottle to add to DME for conditioning. I let beer condition in the keg for 2 weeks. My first taste of the beer tasted like beep. Have I done something wrong, or is there some other procedure that I need to follow? So he cultured from the Hoegaarden bottle.
Well, you could have got a dirty culture when you culture. Culture from the bottle's tough.
Yeah.
You might not have gotten enough out of that. I got to know exactly what you meant by cheap. I got to know, is it sour? Is it medicinal? Is it nasty? What's going on there?
But most likely it was just a dirty yeast.
Just to let you know, I love Hoegaarden myself.
Yeah?
Too.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I really do.
Big fan yourself.
And I haven't been able to nail it down myself either.
Okay.
I make some good tasting wits, but I can't nail that one down just yet.
Okay.
There's a lot of little different things. So I need to know exactly what it is. It might have been your bottle culture thing. Could have been that.
Well, if you're listening, you need to email Doc. If not, I'm just going to forward this on to Doc anyway.
Do I have an email?
No.
He might respond.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I told everybody last week, too, that he has his own.
By Tuesday.
Yeah. I forgot. What are you going to do? I did a lot of other stuff this week, though. You're going to hear it throughout.
Good.
Like,
you know what?
Like this, for example.
Yee! That makes it all good.
Yeah. I'm improving audio quality. I got no time for this stuff.
Yeah.
Another question for you. I'm an old-time drinker, first-time brewer. I love you. These guys are my favorite guys. I'm an old-time drinker myself. So far, hey, I've been doing it for long enough to be an old-time drinker, though, anyway. So far, I've made just a few extract beers and have loved them all. So, it looks like there are a ton of recipes and kits out there for extract brewing. So, will I be a hump if I never go to all grain? I mean, it seems like I can make some really good homebrew without going to all grain, but I hear all grain this and all grain that. I'm a follower for sure, but I don't want to get sucked into something that I don't have to get into. Any insight would be appreciated.
Well, that's easy. The first thing is, do you like it?
Yeah.
That's great.
He loves it.
You can keep learning, listening to us, listen to other things, and just among the fermentation stuff and all the kind of cool stuff you can do, I tasted some extract brews that are just killer.
Yeah.
And so you can always make a better beer and not even have to go up.
That's right. I say if you like what you're doing, keep doing it. You don't need to buy all the extra equipment. It gets real expensive real quick. You'll be able to do a lot more things with your beer, but if you're having a good time and you like it, man, stay right there.
Last week we were talking about mini mash, and it doesn't take a lot of stuff to make a mini mash.
That's
you can
right.
use your wife's spaghetti pan in the oven.
That's
Just
right.
do a 3-pound mini mash to add to that, and you will improve the whole thing. So you're already making good beer. Just keep it up, and there's lots of little things you can do to improve it along the way without even having to go to all grains.
There's another aspect to that, too, is if you want to add too many variables to play with, then go to full mashes right away. But my God, that's more than most people can physically handle, mentally, at least more than I can mentally handle. So take care of one thing at a time and learn about hops, learn about yeast, learn about all different things. And then if you're really gung-ho for more than that, you have way too much time on your hands and way too many spaghetti pots or whatever, then you go ahead for whole grain. But don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. You're already making something you really like, and you can tweak that up little at a time, and little stuff here, little stuff there.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people come to me very apologetic that they're only using extract, and my feeling is, oh God, there's nothing to apologize for.
Yeah,
you're spending your time learning about other things.
That's right.
When you're ready, great.
Then
if
you
you're
can
not
move
ever
on.
ready, don't worry about it.
I agree. We had a professional extract brewer in here a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Although he said the only reason he does is because his brewery's too small, but still he was doing extract, and he's a professional brewer.
Like
so
35 years. Yeah.
I've talked about Jim Rossi before, and he gave me some of his extract brew, and I can usually taste an extract brew right off the bat, and his was just phenomenal. And I look at him with just my mouth gaping open, saying, "Wow, this is extract." And he said, "Yeah."
All right. So there you go, Rob. I say stick with it. That was Rob. Don't know where he's from. He just said Rob. So there you go. I'll email
Rob.
you back, too. Might take 6 weeks. But all right, another question here. Hey, Justin, I've been listening to some of the archives and was wondering if Dr. Scott has any pictures or other info on the Carboy keg cleaning bucket that he made. I would love to see a picture. A picture's worth 1,000 words. Thanks and keep up the good work on the show. Cheers, Jason. Now this is something I always ask you about, and every time you tell me about it, I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right.
I want to see the thing too. I need one. Darn it.
I'll do some pictures this week.
Okay, which means I'll get them up in 6 months.
Pretty much. I will get the pictures done.
Okay.
I might even do it tomorrow. I'll get them done. I'll bring them in to you.
Okay.
Or I might email them this week. I'll get them to you, and then at your leisure, you can put them on my gallery.
Okay.
It's pretty simple kind of thing, but it saves me so much time.
Yeah.
And it's all a power wash thing is all it is.
Just to clean your kegs and your carboys.
Yep.
You put it right. You just sit them right on top of it and let it go to work, right?
Right. And I don't even
take apart your fittings?
I don't even take apart my kegs anymore because I have fittings that click on to the in and the out, and they clean it in place. It's basically a clean in place kind of gig for your kegs.
Right.
And it will do carboys too.
Okay. All right, so post some pictures, and maybe you could type up a brief how-to
Yes, I will.
build guide, and we can post that in the forum to go along with the pictures.
We should have a gadget section.
Yeah, we're working on it. That's definitely coming.
But yeah, this is something that it's just revolutionized how easy it is. I hate cleaning. I hate sticking my hand way down in that keg. And I could get down to about mid bicep maybe. And that doesn't touch. I got a short arm. That does not touch the bottom there.
It's revolutionized your laziness, basically.
Well, yes. Well, I cleaned that nasty keg, that nasty carboy of yours, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
He gave me the nastiest looking carboy I've ever seen.
Chrome.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
It wasn't a trube ring; it was a trube inside.
I got another one sitting out back too because Daniela hasn't cleaned it.
Oh, whatever.
It's your
Get over
carboy.
yourself, finally.
When did it come out of that carboy?
All you really got to do is just fill it with some PBW.
It's heavy. It's filled with water. It's heavy, and I'm a girl.
Oh yeah.
You have noticed?
Let's see what that has to do with anything.
If I can point out something,
we called you that strong blonde, right?
If I can point out something as guest in your house here,
right.
This is the only house I've been in where, in the hallway to the bedroom, there are carboy brushes hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful thing.
That's right. That's right. Okay. How about a couple more questions? You want to do some more, guys, from the listeners?
Sure.
This could be, it says for the guest, Doc, John, whoever. Let's see. I learned the homebrewing process from that free video that Midwest Brewing Supply gives out. The guy in the video says that when you're mixing your grains and mash water into your mash tun, you should add a couple quarts of water, then a couple pounds of grain, and mix. You're supposed to continue this process until you have everything in the tun. I believe he said to do this to keep from getting hot and cold spots in the tun. Is this necessary, or can you put all the grain in and then add the water and stir thoroughly? If it matters, I use a 10-gallon Igloo cooler as my tun and a wooden dowel paddle for stirring.
You're going to get dough balls.
That's the main thing with me. It was always dough balls.
I like that
Igloo
word.
cooler's going to be narrow, and that's what I did for a long time.
Yeah.
And I stir it up, and you get these dry spots, these dough balls that don't get any of the hot liquid to the grain.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do 100 times. Do some, put some water in, just back and forth with that kind of setup. You'll be okay.
Okay.
I just don't want to get these dough balls that just don't get mashed.
Just like it every time you say balls.
Dough balls.
Dough balls.
I don't know.
Chocolate salty balls.
It's kind of immature that way, I guess.
I pump my water into grains, so.
He said pump.
You do.
Yeah.
Now it's going to go on all show long.
Thanks. That's your fault, Jay.
Yeah, my bad. All right, so yeah, keep doing it slow is what you guys are saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't want to get dough balls.
No dough balls.
All right. Number 2, how often should I change, and this is a question I have too, actually. How often should I change my disposable equipment, like hoses, stoppers, and things like that?
Well, if you see discoloration, clean it with a line brush or throw it out.
If you can't get it clean, the crud off of it, you can't sanitize crud.
There's no crud on mine, but they're discolored. They've been discolored for 6 batches now.
What's discolored? Is it the beer wort? Is it the iodophore? Stuff like that. But if you can see chunky things in there,
yeah, those are bad.
Those are bad.
Well, try cleaning with something acid, strong and strong alkali both.
Yeah.
Because sometimes some of that stuff only comes off with like an acid.
Okay.
And if you still can't get it off,
change it.
It depends. Depends if you heat sterilize it, you can pretty well kill it, but it might taste nasty.
It's just tubing too, and if you you gotta be careful with tubing dissolving and things. So it's cheaper just to cut some new.
If it's got a real nice vinyl taste, I would probably pass on it.
Yeah.
VPA, little vinyl pale ale.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
God.
It is cheap. The hose is cheap. I got to redo mine anyway. I'll be down at the shop stealing some hose next week.
Yeah, tasting a beer with iodophor, like residual, it's gross.
Bad news.
Metallic-y.
Okay, so if you start to see some discoloration or chunks in there, just change them out.
It's not so much the discoloration, but the chunks are the clear tubing that you can't get out, and brushing it's just going to scratch it. So.
Yeah, but PBW is a good, if you let it sit, it'll soak it, it'll eat it all away. So
mostly, but sometimes there's a point when give it up.
Yeah. Well, if you're poor, and I'd use PBW and let it sit in hot water overnight, and it should eat it all away.
And if you're just paranoid,
well,
buy a whole 100-foot roll and just change it every time.
Put a light beer through it and taste it. If it tastes perfect, then don't worry about it.
Yeah,
that's
if
a
it
good
doesn't
idea.
taste so good, then
exactly.
That's the best way to tell right there. Put some beer through it and taste it.
If it doesn't taste good, give it to
You
your
just might
friends.
be a genius, Brian. Not only did you bring 3 kegs, but that was a gem right there.
Yeah, right on.
I love the simple wisdom. It's always those that make me smile.
Yeah.
The tough wisdom that Doc gives, I just go, what?
Yeah. We need to have points when you say gem.
Yeah.
Oh, we have that light that lights up.
Yeah. Tossing out gems over there. What am I about to take a drink of here, Brian?
I suspect that's Twist of Fate Bitter Ale.
The bitter ale, huh? It's got some aroma, I'll tell you that.
Yes, it does.
It'll even get you right. It gets you all the way from your nose to your throat when you're smelling it. That's nice.
Now it's poured with just not quite the exact. Speaking of hoses, the length of hose and all that, so it's a little heady.
Okay.
But I would hope there's some aroma there,
and
there may be some taste. I don't know. This is, I think, at the Pilsner recipe. No, this is not.
I'm going to get some.
There's some great taste actually.
Yeah, tastes kind of oaky. Is there oak in that?
Nope.
It does got that oak kind of musty.
I should probably change the barrels.
There you go.
Now we're going to get all into it a little bit later, but let me just ask you briefly, is it safe to say that this isn't brewed to any particular style because you don't like style guidelines?
Oh, no, that's completely wrong. This is exactly a West Coast Sonoma County bitter ale style.
What's wrong with my researchers?
Dang.
They're in the wrong county.
Yeah, I guess so.
What is that? That's a 5E, right?
5E sub.
On that BJC?
Yeah, sub 3.
Yeah,
Roman
right.
numeral 3.
Oh, that's great. Just make an ass out
No,
of
it's a
Justin
5EBS.
Day.
Yeah.
Like I need help with that. Now I got to change the website because I put on the page that you're all anti-style. That's what I was told. That's what my researchers told me, which is John.
Well, I'm anti certain styles.
Okay.
I'm anti trying to fit into certain styles.
Okay.
He
All
makes a beer, it's good. If it doesn't fit, screw him.
This one's good. All right, we'll get all into that in a little bit. We're just going to do the news, take a break, and then we're going to get right into Brian Hunt and Moonlight, who's going to be with us all night, I hope, unless he gets sick of us. A little bit of news. I'm gonna breeze through it. I'm trying to get done with the intro by 5:30. So
2 minutes.
in the great state of Connecticut, and I say that with a grin. I was born in Connecticut. My family still lives there. There's a battle brewing over an elf label on a beer. It's a holiday beer that's imported from England, and it has the beer's called Seriously Bad Elf. And it shows it shows a mean-looking elf with a slingshot firing Christmas ornaments at Santa's sleigh as it flies overhead. Which I think is great.
That's awesome.
But state liquor regulations bar alcohol advertising with images that might appeal to children. And the regulations specifically mention Santa. So there's a big battle. Let's see. They say there are certain symbols and images that appeal more strongly to children, and this regulation includes the most obvious among them. Attorney General Richard Blumenthal said the state has wide discretion to regulate the sales of alcohol. And they're basically just trying to keep it from being imported unless they change it.
Well, maybe they should have him slinging Christmas ornaments at the Attorney General.
Yeah.
And then there'd be no Santa involved. I think that would solve the problem perfectly.
If they could do that. It sells the beer
and sell a lot more of it.
They sell it in 30 other states with no complaints, but Connecticut's got a lot of weird things going on there. It's an old state, and it's a lot of Protestant laws still sticking around. Like you can't buy alcohol on Sunday, for example. Can't buy it after 9. Can't buy it on holidays. A lot of weird laws that stem back from.
I thought Santa didn't exist.
Nor do elves.
Yeah, neither do elves. They actually had a worse one earlier, an even worse label than that, but they took it off.
Elf crotch ale.
Yeah. So anyway, big fight brewing over that. So that's the story with that in Connecticut. A Bud distributor employee was fired for drinking Coors Light. Or Coors. Did you guys hear about this?
No.
It's been going on for a while. A lawsuit filed by a man who alleged a Budweiser distributor wrongfully fired him after he drank a competitor's beer during his off hours has been dismissed. They dismissed the case. It was set to go to trial Monday, but it never went. And they're not discussing the details of why. But basically, the owner of the company's daughter and son-in-law went into the bar, saw the employee sitting at the bar wearing a Budweiser hat and drinking a Coors, and allegedly bad-mouthing the company, although the man says that wasn't happening at all. They then reported it to Daddy, i.e. the boss of the distributor, and the guy got fired for drinking Coors and working for Bud.
Not to mention bad-mouthing the company.
Yeah, right.
Well, wait, he should be fired for drinking Bud or Coors.
That's right. If you want to fire somebody for something, fire for drinking bad beer.
Yeah.
Not Coors, though, because we're still trying to get them on the show.
Tap the Rockies.
Yeah. We can say whatever we want about Bud. They already denied us.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, and back to my quest to find good health in beer. Researchers at Oregon State University discovered cancer-related properties of a flavonoid compound called xanthohumol. About 10 years ago, they found it in hops. A recent publication by an OSU researcher in the journal Phytochemistry, which has got to be exciting reading, outlines the range of findings made since then. Do you really?
No.
Because that wouldn't surprise me a bit. Let's see. Xanthohumol is one of the more significant compounds for cancer chemo prevention that we've studied, said Fred Stevens, a researcher with OSU's Linus Pauling Institute and an assistant professor for blah, blah, blah. The published literature and research on its properties are just exploding at this point, and there's a great deal of interest. Quite a bit is known about the biological mechanism of action in this compound and the way it's used to help prevent cancer. They say, we can't say that drinking beer will help prevent cancer, Stevens said. Most beer has low levels of this compound, and its absorption in the body is also limited. I should have left that part out. But,
but if you're not making a case for yourself.
No, I think most beer doesn't have any hops.
It doesn't have any hops at all, right. But if ways can be developed to significantly increase the levels of xanthohumol or use it as a nutritional supplement, that might be different. It clearly has some interesting cancer chemopreventive properties, and the only way people are getting any of it right now is through consumption of beer.
Wow.
So
you're covered, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
IPAs all the way, you know.
No cancer in these huevos. That's for sure. Knock on wood, right, guys?
Yeah.
I haven't checked your huevos lately.
I gotta get checked now.
not right now.
Not feeling too good about that. All right, we're going to take
Daniela,
a quick...
get that tape measure out.
I will.
According to my watch, we finished the intro in 31 minutes.
Perfect.
Which is record time for this studio.
Yeah, baby.
Trying to keep it moving for you guys. All right, we're going to take a quick break. It's going to be 2 songs. When we come back, we're going to talk to Brian Hunt from Moonlight Brewing Company. Where are you guys out of, Brian?
Santa Rosa.
Rural
Santa Rosa.
Okay, right there in Santa Rosa. Already liking the beer. It's pretty good so far, and we got 3 kegs to go through. So
passing out here.
All right, here's a little Aerosmith. We'll be back in a minute.
Back to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Yes, sir. Back in action. We're on record time.
Yes.
It's only
segue.
5:35. We got so much time to do the show, John. It's unbelievable.
Dude, we have 2.5 hours.
feel like I'm supposed to screw around for 10 minutes now or something.
The doc talk. We'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
All right, we're here today with Brian Hunt from Moonlight Brewing Company. I have a couple questions from the chat room for you already, Brian.
Excellent.
I want to mention real quick to join the chat room if you want to participate with some of our listeners. A lot of them hanging out in there today. Just click the Chat Now button right on our main page. Punch in a name, you'll log right in. It's not a membership or anything else.
You don't have that funky name, gig, something thing anymore?
No, it's nothing weird. You just punch in a name and you hit enter, and that's it. You don't have to register or anything else. It's easy. So join us in the chat room. It's the best place to ask questions because Daniela will hand them off to us. Yes. You can also call 888-401-BEER if you want to call up. 888-401-BEER, and we're happy to take your phone calls.
B-E-E-R.
Yeah, thank you.
That was
2337.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, the first question for you is a very simple question our listeners want to know.
23.
He's 23, folks. He's 23. Where can you try Moonlight beer, Brian?
Well, let's say the general Bay Area.
Okay.
Let's see. From Sonoma County, Napa County, Contra Costa, where we are now, Alameda, San Francisco.
Okay.
And a little bit in Mendocino County. That's about it.
Now, we got people all over the world. It's just the Bay Area they can get it?
No, they can get as close to their airports as long as they have a valid ticket and boarding pass.
Right, they're welcome to the brewery and come pick it up. Okay, so Moonlight's only in the Bay Area unless we illegally ship it across state lines.
Oh, God, we don't want to do that.
Of course not.
We would never do that.
Yeah. All right.
No, just illegally.
So I had touted today's show as the official anti-style show, so we're going to have at least some discussion about anti-style.
Yeah, let's go back to what he called this style.
Okay.
Yeah, what did you... I didn't hear that one.
I don't know if I could reproduce it. What did I call it?
Something about
brutal?
No, I think it's a Sonoma County bitter ale style.
Okay. Which means you invented
it. Is that in the
pretty much, yeah.
I'm not going to say I invented it, but I'm not claiming it's anything other than what it is.
Okay.
Did you start out brewing to a style? Or did you throw together your ingredients and just say make beer?
When I was working for myself, no, I never followed a style.
Okay.
I just wanted to make something that tasted good.
Yeah.
Which I hope most of your, listeners believe when they're home brewing.
Yeah.
Who cares about what somebody in some other country makes? Make something that tastes good.
Yeah. But you got to start somewhere, right? How do you know where to start?
That's tough.
Yeah,
you got to go to the guidelines a little bit to at least, hey, I want to make a bitter.
Oh, I've never looked at any guideline in my life. I have no idea what they say.
Is that right?
Really, no.
Okay.
Heck no.
All right.
Well, no, you chew a bunch of grain. You
Yeah.
try a little of that, try a little of this. This tastes pretty good. Oh, some of that would be good in there.
Okay.
And then you throw that in.
So
you
brew
need some
by
water.
you actually formulate your recipe by taste? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll throw a bunch
Raw
of kernels. I even count kernels out in my hand, chew it up.
Really?
No way.
Yeah. Is that so strange?
Yes.
I think it's awesome, actually.
I'm on target then.
All right, yeah.
How does
11 of these, 12 of those.
How does counting kernels actually, how do you determine is that how you determine your grain bill? Like I got 5 of these, 10 of those.
Well, yeah.
And then
In 100%. Okay, you put 5 kernels of this. You want to know what 5% of that tastes like? You put 95 kernels of pale malt in there, 5 kernels of something else, you chew it up.
You let the amylase in your mouth do it?
No, well, amylase in your mouth, I'm not trying to get alcohol on the first chew. I'm just trying to get flavors.
Oh.
Well, it'll convert it to sugar so you can really taste what happens.
Wow.
But,
that's further down the pike.
Yeah. But, that's a pretty good way to do it. And a lot of people say, taste the grain. If it tastes good, chew it up.
If you don't taste your ingredients, then what do you wishing a prayer? I mean, what do you think it's going to come on the far end?
That's so true. That's a great tip for home brewers.
This man is a genius.
Yeah.
What'd I tell you?
Yeah. Well, I think one really good thing is that you don't have to brew to style. No. You brew to what you think is good or what your target is, and if it comes out great, awesome.
All right, style. All right, let me say something about style. I remember many years ago, down in Palo Alto, there was going to be the Palo Alto Brewing Company that actually started in Mountain View, which, was close enough. And they had done some great research, and they decided there's a ton of expatriate Britishers living on the peninsula. And they said, my God, this is untapped market. We're going to make some British ales. And they brought over British equipment and British ingredients, and they brought over wooden casks and beer engines and everything. They said, well, we're just going to clean up.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is all those people left Britain, and they're now eating tacos and drinking Coors Light. Because we're living here. So why should you copy something from somewhere else in the world? That's not where we live. Now, not everybody in this listening audience does live in the Bay Area. Probably some people do live in England, and then you should make something more appropriate to there. But make whatever fits the climate you're in and the food you eat and the people you hang around with and all that sort of stuff.
I got sidetracked once you said tacos.
Is burritos better?
Tacos just
no,
sound
just
really
food.
good.
I think just got him right there.
A redundant question: do you export to New Jersey? You don't, right?
Oh no,
not legally. I think we described.
Right. Okay.
You can fly out here, get some, and fly back.
There you go.
That's about their export.
I'll tell you what. You send me a plane ticket to Jersey.
You'll bring beer.
Yeah. He'll probably bring you 3 kegs at that point.
You've never been to Jersey, have you?
No.
No.
I like the idea of brewing by region.
Meet me in New York, of course.
The Garden State.
Now, I want to make I want to make the comment that John and Doc, are all about brewing to style. Like, you guys are the style brewers. So don't jump on this bandwagon here, Doc, that you're okay with it just tasting good all of a sudden.
Okay. Just to let you know that I brought my triple along, and it doesn't really fit triple-wise.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little darker than a triple, a little stronger than a triple.
Dump it out. Dump it out. It's just unacceptable.
I gotta dump it out, man.
Just
bad
forget
beer.
it.
It's bad. It's bad.
You should just leave it here.
No, I use styles as a guideline to kind of head me in the right direction.
Okay.
But I've really probably never thrown out beer.
Yeah. I know that about you, Doc. And I appreciate it.
I will make it better somehow.
Yeah, true.
And it's just a matter of making good beer. And if it doesn't fit in a guideline, just the same token, if you're going to do any kind of competitions, it pretty much has to fit in a guideline.
That's what guidelines to me are for.
That's what they're for.
They're for competitions, because I've been beer judge before, and you have something that comes in like, God, this is really good, but then you argue with the judges. Is it in the style or is it not? How close do you want to go?
Yeah.
Well, it's a delicious beer. What do you do with it? You kick it out?
Yeah.
Well,
to me, it's like a dog show. You can have a killer dog, does all the great tricks, looks cool, it's a friendly dog, but you know what? That doesn't fit in the collie kind of category.
Yeah.
And so if you get marked down or thrown out because of that one, doesn't mean it's not a good dog.
no, the answer is you'd be happy that you are thrown out. He's like, I don't want to be like those dogs anyway.
Yeah.
I like that.
My dog's smarter than those dogs.
Exactly.
I got a damn good dog. Why am I here anyway?
You have a goat, Doc.
I have 2 goats, but that's not a dog.
You see, they're not going to do very well in a dog competition, are they?
I don't know. One of them's pretty good. Depending on what you're going to...
Barbecuing, you mean? Or
No.
I want to switch to all grain now just so I can do that tasting method where you just throw a bunch of grains in your mouth. Do you think if I went to the homebrew shop, if I went to B3, since I do extract...
Yes, they will let you taste stuff.
Well, but I do extract. Can I go dipping my fingers in a couple of the extract jars and throw it in my mouth like that?
No.
That wouldn't be all right?
No.
I'm just trying
But they will let you taste the grain.
Yeah, the grain taste, but I don't need grain.
well, buy a bunch of tubs of extract, take them home, taste them at home.
Taste
Go,
them all together.
wow, this one's really good. Yeah. This one, I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
And you mix it yourself.
You got a bunch of those little, 2-gram vials. You can just, taste a little bunch of each of the different extracts, and you take
What are you talking about? What do I use those
your
little
white
vials
lab,
for?
Your white lab tube vials.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking crack cocaine here or something. I didn't know what that meant.
We're talking yeast.
Hey, take it at what you want.
I do have a question for you, John, from one of our listeners about a B3
That's
kit.
the first.
Listener says, just finished brewing Matt's double barrel ale clone from B3.
Nice.
You familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
that's
so is
good.
Jay. So.
It had 3 one-ounce packets of American oak chips.
Mm-hmm.
One for secondary, and the other was under the yeast line. Does that mean the primary? That's what he wants to know.
Secondary. You would add it to the secondary. But it should not be under yeast as a mistype.
Well, it sounds like one was under the secondary and one was under yeast.
At least one.
It's secondary, isn't it?
Where's the other one? There's 3. You said
There's 1 ounce
I think it's
packets.
probably,
I don't
2
know.
ounces
I thought you
in the
said there's
primer?
3.
Yeah, it does say that, but he doesn't say where the other one went. But he wants to know about the one under the yeast line. Jason?
I'll clarify because John just kind of leaves it hanging there. It's not really a mistype. The software that we have was made 10 years ago, and there's not really like a shift in far as home brewing and commercial brewing and how home brewing and commercial brewing blend together. But people try different stuff, and at the time that we did this 10 years ago, we didn't really think that anyone's going to be adding oak chips twice into a ferment, or there'll be more than 3 hop additions.
Right.
We didn't really think that. So we have to put it in as best we can. So we put it under the yeast because there's no other place to put it in for it. It should be going in when you pitch your yeast, so at primary fermentation.
Okay.
That's what it's for. So it is kind of misleading. It should say in the notes, if you got 2 pages, it should say in the notes exactly that, or just, give us a call or whatever. But that's what it's for. We're going to be designing some software so we can put in, if you want 1800 hop additions, we can put that in for you rather than, because we only have 3 places to put hops, 1 place to put anything in the secondary. So it's very limiting. So we do what we can.
Okay. Well, you're doing good work with what you can, Jason.
Thanks, well, thanks. Yeah. Thanks.
All right.
You work with what you got.
That's right.
Which is John, and that's,
That's true. That's true.
Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, my microphone smells funny.
Sorry, buddy.
Sorry, I had tuna fish.
Right. All right, what else you got over there, John? You had a bunch of questions, and now you're all thrown off because it's not
the anti.
But we got
it's not the anti-John show.
We got into an anti-style discussion.
The anti-dog show coming here soon. You want a tango, asshole? I was actually asking a question earlier. Yeah, just learning because you're a dick.
Angry today.
I'm getting that beer in me. Come on.
Yeah,
a little emotional. I talked to my mom on the phone before here and a little twisting in the head, I'm trying to settle down here.
It's a Sonoma ale.
I'll get frisky. Let's do this.
Let's wrestle, John.
Yeah, let's wrestle. Arm wrestle.
All right, boys. All right. What's your question, John?
I got all kinds of questions.
Right.
Well, my comment earlier was that Brian brews to region. I think that's a good point. And I'm just kind of curious.
You mean so in English ale he'll brew like...
Well, he's brewing to food styles. I talked to him a couple of times on the phone. He's talking about tacos, and you don't do tacos with, English pale ales or something. I don't know what your analogy was, but...
that was.
You want to elaborate on that, Brian?
Because his thing was now you're American, you're not British anymore.
Okay, that was his point, Adams.
Okay, I'll elaborate on that.
Yeah.
English pale ales. Yeah. English pale ales are outstanding. They're an incredible category. They're wonderful, and they really belong in England.
Really?
But, as far as I know, we're not in England.
Yes, we're not.
When was the last time you had a Cornish pasty?
Never.
Oh my God!
6 months.
And you call yourself someone who would drink an English pale ale? You're just not doing it justice.
I would probably try to brew style,
Brian,
but not actually.
If I see a Cornish pasty on the menu, I order it.
Yeah, order.
Okay,
it's
very
probably
good.
6 months, probably.
And what do you drink with that?
Usually it's like a lunch thing, so I'm
I
not
heard a
usually
Corona
drinking
behind
beer.
me.
But yeah, it's usually something malty.
Okay.
Now, are you saying that we shouldn't export beer from other countries, for example?
No, we need to import their food so we can have their beer too.
Is that more to the point?
Well, are we interested in freshness? Are we talking about that? Or are we talking about what flavors are appropriate?
We're talking all of it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, what do you got?
That's going to be a whole nother couple hours. Well, no, first of all, okay, English pale ale or Irish pale ale or Irish stout or all those things. These are styles that have developed over, let's say, 8,000 years from when beer was first developed, and people migrated and they end up in different places and found different ingredients and waters and stuff. And so these have developed. So what are we trying to do copying a beer style from some different part of the world? Oh my God. We have those of us here in California, especially the Bay Area. Do you think any chef here in this country go, well, I think I'm only going to make British style beers, or yes, we're going to make the German beers because, excuse me, I said this wrong, the English beers, or no, we're going to make German food because we like the German food here in the Bay Area. How many German food restaurants are there in the Pacheco, Concord?
None.
Oh
Daniela
my God, why
knows.
not?
I don't know. I want to open one really bad.
Okay. Well, then I bet it would be delicious. But but you should have a beer that's appropriate to that. And I think the answer is German food's tasty, but German food goes with German beers, and German food doesn't go as well. German beers don't go as well with tacos because they're not German.
Okay.
So, these things developed over, like I said, 8,000 years.
I'm still drinking with a taco.
Okay. So, why in the heck do we find our chefs in California, Bay Area, pretty much all of the country, don't follow rules from somewhere else in the world? Why do you think breweries should follow rules the chefs don't?
Yeah.
We have fashion statements made from here in L.A. is a big fashion area, San Francisco, or whatever. It's not just Milan fashions or somewhere else.
Right.
Why in the heck can't we have our own identity? Do people just have no sense they can be their own self, that they can make their own beer to something that tastes good? Why do we have to copy something from somewhere else in the world? It's just really sad.
That's a good point.
Very good point.
I think it it's a nice challenge as a home brewer to try to copy, your favorite beer, in the process. But I think you make an excellent point that in making an identity for ourselves, we don't need to take that identity from somebody else, because then that's oxymoron.
And it'd be
just
different if we were in the same climate, the same food, the same everything as, let's say, we're living in London and you're a home brewer. My God, you should make some of the beers that are famous that London's for, that London's famous for. You should do that. But here in this country, most people that read English language books, are reading old British books, and now there's some better ones. But we're copying things from another continent. It's just wrong.
Okay.
Come on, make something that's more unique.
Okay.
Okay, I got a question. What do you feel that we are here as far as beer? In the Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area, what part? Sorry about that.
That's all right.
San Francisco Bay Area.
I love it.
What do you think is us here as far as our sphere of influence?
So you're asking me to say what part elsewhere in the world are we like?
No. What if we're beer here?
Yeah.
London's London, German's German. What's here?
Oh boy, that's impossible to answer. I think Anchor.
Anchor
is a great example of
good
something that's very unique to the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
Anchor Steam. And of course they came out with Liberty. I was delighted when I saw a reference about a Montreal brewery that said they make Northwest style IPAs. Now someone actually claimed that hereby the Northwest US has an IPA style. Now here
they dominate it. I mean,
well, yeah, but it's actually, come on, is there any place else in the country they can say, is there a New York style beer? Is there a Florida style beer, Texas style beer, Colorado style beer? Someone actually acknowledged that there is a Northwest style beer. And there's kind of West Coast style beers too. And the answer is we're much hoppier here. For exactly which reasons I don't know. I mean, we live basically in a desert, Mediterranean style desert, unless you're in San Francisco, and then it's just like you've been in London all the time. So, you would think, for example, like, if you're living in San Francisco, the style is more like London. Like people would want beer engines and ales. Oh, wait a minute. Been to Magnolia? There's a lot of beer engines in San Francisco and ales. Man, Prohibition ale. Some of those ales are real tasty in San Francisco because it fits.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're out in Concord, Pacheco area. It's a little warmer out here. It's not quite so rainy all the dang time, especially in summer, like it is in San Francisco.
It's hot as
cold
heck.
and stuff. Yeah, it's hot. Okay, so you want something different. You want some more thirst quenching. Bud, Coors, all those places, all those breweries make some incredible beers for a 12-pack at a time.
Yeah.
It's really hot. You're mowing the lawn. You're doing whatever. There's a style that fits everything you're doing, everything you're eating, everything you're experiencing, basically.
Yeah.
And if you're mowing the lawn, I'm guessing this triple that probably is not an appropriate
That's not
thing.
appropriate.
And I believe on the bottle it says do not operate machinery
Pretty much,
that may include lawnmowers. Yeah. Unless it's a push mower, then it's okay.
Probably not even that.
I'm guessing having used drink triples before and tried to use a push mower, it's really just a bad example.
Well, Brian, I can't even ride Bart on a triple.
So what are we here in the Bay Area or California? Well, that's impossible because we're nothing compared to anything else. We're like this twist of fate. Does it taste good? Then it's good.
But if we're trying to carve out our own niche. What are we? Obviously, the West Coast is more hoppy.
Oh yes, we're definitely more hoppy.
Definitely more hoppy. Balanced with malt. It's a nice balance.
And a beer with more residual gravity, more hearty beer. It's better for colder weather. I mean, everybody knows as colder weather, you tend to easier towards dark beers or stronger beers or more ales. As it's warmer weather, you tend to go towards lawnmower beers or lagers or something like that. And so you match the climate, what it is right now, what it is, in summer and winter and all that. So it is all of it. It's not any one given thing at any given moment either.
Okay. I got a couple comments from the chat room I think we should get in here.
Okay.
Just as a heads up, not everyone agrees with your theory, Brian. So I hope you're all right with that. One comment is that Brian is being ridiculous. Where did homebrewing come from? From people wanting to get styles that they cannot get here. So for example, not being able to buy something, you brew it yourself. So I think
absolutely.
You're maybe saying that you don't agree with that.
No, I do agree with that. It's obviously, if you can't get it or you get it here and it's stale, how else do you get something you want to drink? And so if you find a style that you love from somewhere else in the world, well, of course make it.
Okay.
But with the caveat that you may find you tweak a little bit here and there, and you might find it's even better than what you could have been reproducing from somewhere else.
Okay.
So yes, I agree with that person.
Okay. Another comment was that style guidelines such as the BJCP, this isn't directly related to any comments of yours, such as the BJCP, change them to meet the styles that people are brewing instead of keeping them firm. So even the style guidelines are molding to what people are brewing in competitions.
Yeah, the brewers define them.
Yeah.
You know,
that has to do a lot
with
with the judging.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Jamil quite a bit about that, and it used to be very regional. You get German beers, an Alt, a Kolsch, and they would all be in the same kind of category. And the judges are just all over the place with that. So they changed them so you could have all amber beers, all amber lagers, all blonde lagers. So it was much easier for the judges to kind of compete with that a little bit better.
Well, it's pandemonium if you throw all the styles out.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
And granted, pandemonium is not very useful. You're trying to judge beers.
Right.
But I guess my angle is don't limit yourself to the pre-existing styles. I made a beer one time at the old Combine. It's a 4-grain lager. I mean, someone who believes in styles answer me this. What is this beer? It's got oats, rye, wheat, and barley in a lager base. And I described it as a French-style ale. Mm-hmm. And the person that I was talking to was a restaurant owner in San Francisco, and I said, I was hoping someone would try to find it in Michael Jackson's World Book of Beer. He said, I did. I looked it up, and it wasn't there.
Wow. It must not be a beer then.
I said, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. If it's not a beer, then how could I have made it?
Yeah. Okay.
No, so think of all the things. Think about, like this Twist of Fate. Mm-hmm. Think of all the beers in existence today that, especially that I make, that really shouldn't be in existence if we only followed beer styles. You couldn't drink this if we all followed beer styles. There's more to life than just this rigid framework of things that Michael Jackson, not the entertainer, the other one, that Michael Jackson has shown us. There's more to life than that. And if you limit yourself to that, you just so limited yourself.
How does that pay off for your brewery?
People don't know what the heck I make.
They come on in and say, give me something.
They go to a bar and they, can I have a pale ale? Well, they don't order mine. Can I have something or other? They're looking for a beer style. They don't order my beer because they don't know what it is.
Well, what do you get out of that?
I get to make what I want, drink what I want. Just like the person said, I want to be able to make a style that from somewhere else that I can't get. Well, then make that style.
Now, is this
this is just really sad for me.
Sorry.
I only make something to provide myself with what I want to drink.
That's
and
correct.
Luckily, a few other people like it too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
great.
So,
and you make a living brewing this beer.
If you want to call it that, yeah.
Well, you survive and you have beer on your table and food and stuff. You're a monk.
The beer, I don't eat much beer, much food, but yes, the beer is on my table, yes.
All right, I hate to do this. We got to take a break because it's getting to be the 6 o'clock hour, and I promised tastings at the 6 o'clock hour. So we're going to have to do our official Guinness tasting. Speaking of beers not from our region. But we started doing this every week now where we're going to get a beer in here and taste it and try to help out people's palates to decipher one ingredient from another and different flavors in a beer. And this week it's Guinness. So I got to take a short break. We'll do the Guinness tasting and then we'll get right back to this discussion because I got a lot of questions coming
Everybody
from
pop
the
the top on your Guinness, put it in your glass.
Now remember what I said. It's got to be Guinness in a can if you could have found it.
Not the Guinness Extra Stout.
No, not the extra, not the bottle. It has to be Guinness in the can with a widget.
Usually a 4-pack.
Well, actually, the bottle comes with a widget. One of the bottles comes with a widget now.
So you can wait for us to come back to pour it in your glass if you want, or you can pour it ahead of time. I hope you guys maybe tasted it earlier and have some questions for us about some of its flavor profile, and that's how we're going to run it. So.
And perhaps it should be in a glass. It's most like a Guinness glass.
Yes, absolutely. If you got one of those, that would be best. So it's the Brewing Network. We're going to do the Guinness tasting right when we come back. We're with Brian Hunt from Moonlight Brewing. He's got a lot of good stuff to say today. I'm enjoying myself. We'll be right back in 2 minutes and 39 seconds.
And now back to 3 guys with absolutely nothing better to do. The Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
right, we're back with Brian Hunt from Moonlight Brewing Company, and we're about to do our Guinness tasting, which I promised you guys we're going to be doing a tasting each week, so everyone was pretty excited about it last week. Last week we did Samuel Adams, and this week we decided on Guinness, definitely a beer that everybody can pick up, and one that most people like. As far it's your staple stout, although John disagrees about liking it.
Actually, after tasting it today.
Yeah.
The B3 extract kit is very close to this.
Is that right?
Yeah. I always used to think that the extract brewers, when they brought it in, it was kind of, light on body and stuff, but it's pretty close to the style.
Well, there's differences in it. This is not the Guinness Extra Stout you can buy in the bottle.
It's different on draft, too.
It's different on draft. Then they came out with a can with the widget in it.
Yeah.
Then they came out with the widget in the bottle, so you can actually drink it out of the bottle.
Right.
Because,
I don't like it
everybody
out
has
of
a
the bottle.
Well,
I only like it out of the can.
With the widget bottle.
Even the widget bottle.
Yeah,
I've had the widget bottle, and I think that the closest it comes to coming out of the tap is in the can still.
Well, because it comes in, put it into the glass.
Yeah.
Which is
the way you're supposed to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. If you did wait to pour your Guinness for us, I'll give you simple guidelines, although you should know already. I just went to the site, was looking around, and happened to read it, so I figured I'd tell you. I used to actually just dump the Guinness straight, like tip the can over and dump it, not do the tilted glass like you do a lot of other ales because of the nitro. Guinness recommends that you tilt the glass. So if you want to do it that way as they recommend, then go ahead. It's their beer, so what the heck. You're going to tilt the glass and pour that sucker in. Probably want to wait for the cascading to stop before you have a drink. Your basic Guinness drinking 101. And then, like we're doing in the studio now, you want to start with a nice swirl. Get it swirling around in your glass so that you can get some of the aromas, and take a smell before you have a taste. Smells like good.
Smells like good.
Smells like good.
Is that molasses? I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely a smell that I pick up. I pick up a molasses and charcoal smell from Guinness usually. It's kind of what I always get out of it. And while that sounds terrible, it's a nice smell.
Yeah,
I like molasses and charcoal. I don't know why. Kind of like when you start the barbecue. That's a good smell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all that old burned up barbecue sauce that used to be on there.
Well, what do you get? Am I close? What are you smelling there, Doc?
I smell the. Do you think they use roasted barley in this?
They do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, black barley.
Yeah,
roasted barley and unmalted flaked barley.
Black barley.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And
black
flaked.
beer. Yeah.
Doc, is that what you're smelling? Just roasted barley? You just get the roasty smells?
Roasted barley. I smell kind of a catty, goaty kind of smell to it too.
Really?
I've been informed by a chef that serves my beers, and I was asking him about some of the Cascade flavors, and he said gamey is more appropriate to some of those things.
Gamey's good.
Gamey? All right.
It sounds more positive than,
Catty and goaty.
Catty.
Yeah.
Although gamey's not too positive either. But I guess it's more positive than goaty.
Yeah.
All right, let me take a drink here.
No, don't.
Well, it's flat. I'll tell you that.
Yes, it is.
It's definitely, ours is flat. I don't know if yours is
it's way flat. It's way flatter than I like. It doesn't even dance on your tongue at all.
Yeah, this one is real flat. All right. Well, beyond the flatness, which I think definitely affects the flavor, maybe our widget didn't work. Did the widget
Maybe we should have opened it and let the widget do its thing before we poured it in the glass.
I thought you're supposed to open it, pour it, and let it do its thing in the glass.
Yeah, or did we open
pour it right away, right? Yeah.
Did you pour it right away?
But you might be right, because when the widget pops, it continuously sort of emits its nitro. I don't know.
Open it and immediately pour the beer gently into a glass. Wait for a few moments for your pint to settle, forming the uniquely
settled really
thick.
Quick on this.
Now, maybe because we all have 2 inches in a glass.
Yeah, we didn't get a whole one.
I could open another one.
2 inches. That looks like 6 inches.
Open another one, John.
I drank mine too
and
fast.
pour a full one just to look at it and see if
I'll pour it in my glass.
Let's pour another. Let's pour one more.
All right. Flavor wise, I don't get all the.
It's not as sharp as I'd like to have it.
Yeah.
It's got a bitter aftertaste,
I don't even get that. It's just
astringency going on.
I actually think it has a chalky aftertaste.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
It's definitely
carbonate.
It's a chalky that chalky carbonate kind of barbecue.
Way bicarbonates in this water.
And is that what it's from? It's from the water. So that chalky flavor you get out of it is it's their bicarbonate water.
Oh, but that matches perfectly with that burn malt character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a perfect blend of flavors. They've just pegged this.
Right. And that's why
I guess that's why it's famous or something.
Well, and that's why brewing it elsewhere doesn't match up. You know, people they do brew it in other parts of the world, and people say, "Oh, I can always taste the difference," and that makes sense because it's a different water.
Yep.
So, I definitely do get those roasty flavors out of it too, not just the chalky bicarbonate, but you're getting the roast out of the malt, which is the. You're saying that it's burnt malt? Is that what you said?
No, let's say blackened malt.
Yeah, blackened malt.
It's very dark Lovey Bond, 550.
Yeah,
something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, it's the dark is dark, really dark.
What's your extract kit got for grains? And aside from extract, you got what's your steeping?
It's got roasted barley, a little bit of Munich, I think, and some crystal in it, and then just base malt.
No flaked.
Flake
barley. Flake barley.
Not an extract. You get the mini mash.
Do you guys have a mini
flake
mash?
Barley, you ought to be able to put it in there though.
You do.
Maybe a small percentage, but
flake barley and extract.
You don't want much flaked barley in that.
No,
just enough.
It's a little watery.
And it's just watery.
A tip from the chat room says it's best to open it, leave it for 1 minute, and then pour.
We got another one. Let's try that one.
Yeah, we just pop it. What are we going to do with that one? Leave it or dump it?
We're going to pop it.
I'm going to pop it.
Let's leave it for a minute.
Pop it and then leave it for a minute. All right, so we just popped a new can, and now we're going to leave it for a minute.
Because the way we did it sucked.
Give that a taste.
That's your fault, Doc.
Yes, it is. Because I was like 10 feet away, and then, I should have been right on that.
Should have been.
Now, you said you had taken some notes about tasting this earlier, John. What do you got?
Well, it's a little watery. It's light on body.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking up some type of crystal. It's sweet in the front with the malt. It has like a honey sweetness going on.
I think
and then the bitterness, the aftertaste. I don't think it's actually hop. I think it's an astringency from the roasted barley that adds kind of a bitterness going on.
Okay, so that's that back of the mouth chalky bitterness too. Is the astringency?
Yeah. I think there's. It's a very quaffable beer. You could drink a lot of this.
Yeah.
Because
it's low alcohol.
Well, this one's low alcohol, where the other the Guinness Extra Stout isn't. That's like 6%.
Oh, okay.
5.5%, 6%.
Doesn't anybody think it tastes dead?
Yes.
It does.
Yes, very
flat.
dead. Yeah, very like.
Yeah.
It's like
black water.
It's a bit of a blank palate kind of yeah. It's a Dead Sea beer. That's what it is.
A dead bee beer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although generally I really like Guinness. I'll have Guinness in a pub anytime off the tap.
That's what they say, off the tap
Yeah.
is the key here.
Different in a can. Okay, but our goal here really is to be able to describe flavors and where they're coming from. So that's whether
I didn't get a lot
beer.
of flavors off of this one.
But yeah, the blank palate doesn't help with that process. I'll tell you that.
I wish it had more malt, more depth of malt.
Yeah.
More body. Good. So can I pour this?
Has it been a minute?
Yeah, it's been about a minute. Go ahead and pour that one.
If Guinness had more body to it,
you
wouldn't be able to enjoy it as frequently, let's say, as you can.
Right. You mean in quantity?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how you make money, is people not saying, "Oh, that was nice. I'm going home."
Yeah. I skipped over a news story last week about how ales first were coming about as being a popular working man's drink in England, and how they were quite weak, so that basically you get out of work and you go and you drink 10 pints and you can still walk home. And it wasn't until lagers became introduced, from Germany into England, that were a much stronger beer, and those became popular. And those ale companies didn't know what the heck to do to compete, because now they weren't selling. You could drink 5 beers and get a lot more drunk than drinking the 10 light ales that you.
And
were
the
drinking.
girls with the nasty teeth look a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing. What are you trying to do? You're trying to have something to keep you company, basically, something in your glass, that is, all night long in the pub?
Yeah.
And in that case, you want something light. And if you want to get there faster, shall we say, Tree Frog beer, then, you drink something that's more alcoholic.
Yeah.
And then you're done and you're, passed out in the room spinning.
Right.
I'd rather enjoy something for much longer.
Yeah, I don't know. I vary. Sometimes I want to drink too and feel real nice.
That room spinning is just such a, calls your name.
Yeah. Sometimes. I don't know why.
Is that how you came up with your name for your brewery?
Moonlight?
Yeah. How'd you come up with that?
Moonlight Midnight.
It was my Moonlight
Passed
job
out
at the time, and it just seemed appropriate. It was going to be the new moon for a while, and that didn't work. A few other ones didn't work.
Anyone else get butter?
Grab a microphone,
Butter?
Jason, if you would.
Yeah.
He
Come over
mentioned
here.
Butters.
We'll share one.
He mentioned butter out of it.
Hey, Butters.
I don't get butter.
Butters.
You're getting a.
Just in the nose. You guys don't. No one gets butter.
I don't get the butter. You talking like a diacetyl butter? Yeah.
There's a creaminess in the head. Actually, this is the one that has been poured and sat for a minute. That person that emailed in to recommend that.
Is that better?
Well, you try it.
I will.
I think it's a little bit better.
And then on the end, it's like a ash almost,
Yeah.
like
burnt.
You smell an old ashtray.
Yeah,
not to be confused
with
ash.
It smells like. It smells like Krogan's.
It's like your apartment
like
the next day
in downtown Walnut Creek. It smells like old Guinness and ash.
I think this one is better. And it has to do with the carbonation level, I think, only.
Definitely.
I think that's all it is. Guinness definitely. It adds a little bit of that body that you're missing, John.
Mm-hmm. So carbonation.
It also adds that ash flavor in the back with the carbonation too. You're right. It is a different. I like to let it sit 1 minute and then pour it, Tip, because it is better.
More better.
If I can mention for a minute the whole purpose of what using nitrogen beers and widgets and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny. We kind of take that for granted today as we're trying to copy the nitrogen styles, but the nitrogen style is all about copying a beer engine.
Yeah.
Back when there was casks, basically gravity that you sucked out of the cellar with a physical pump, a piston pump.
Yeah.
And you bet that had a beautiful head on it because you're just making that beer so turbulent. And so the whole nitrogen thing is just to copy that. And the widgets are to copy the nitrogen thing. It's in a way pathetic. But
all the copying going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we had this out of a cask from the cellar, and there's no downstairs here, I don't think, but with a beer engine, oh, God, I think we'd just be dying for delight.
Yeah. I like that.
Those are hard to find.
Yeah, that's true.
You need to sell those, Jan.
Need to go to Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's the place to
Company
drink your
trip,
Guinness.
huh?
Yeah. All right, did I get any... okay. Yeah, a couple questions from the chat room. I think we might have answered him. How does Guinness compare with the BJCP guidelines as a stout? You guys know anything about that?
You're killing Brian over here.
You know?
No. This is perfect. This should exactly peg an Irish style stout, Irish dry stout,
because
this is what an Irish dry stout is.
Yeah, that's it.
And
that's
so,
the guideline.
Yes,
Guinness is the guideline.
And if you're trying to make that, by God, it better taste exactly like that.
Well, it's been around so long. Guinness has been around so long for what, 300 years or something like that, 2.5. That's all. Something like that. It's it's
recorded.
It should be. It's definitely right. I think all those old beers have been around for years. Yeah, of course. I mean, what else are they going to have the? I can't do math. I don't know.
1759. Just say that number. It doesn't.
Since 1759.
That's when they've been brewing it.
And
345,
all the old beers, like
46 years.
Way before. Thanks, math. And then before all the styles,
it's actually
what else are the BJCP gonna base their guidelines on?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Someone wants to know: does the can say "serve extra cold"? That's
pathetic.
It's cold. I just pulled out of the fridge.
Yeah.
2 minutes
Is that
ago.
Arizona
But it might not
standards?
say "serve extra cold."
Well, what defines extra cold? I mean, a 35, 40 degree temperature, or you take it out and let it sit for a second? I don't know.
Well, I think you just taste it with your palate. It's
It
either
says
warmer or cold.
It says chill the can for at least 3 hours. Now, how cold that is with chilling, I don't know.
Where'd you
Hopefully
start?
not in ice. Open it and immediately pour.
Yeah.
So basically, if you got it back of the refrigerator was pretty cold, don't let it warm up at all.
Yeah, they want it cold. See, I like all my beer cold. I don't care what it is. I like it icy cold. Doesn't matter.
It does also specifically, again, say there's a little square with an, I assume that's a snowflake, chill for at least 3 hours.
Yeah.
This is for the American market.
The thing about drinking beer cold, though, the malt is it's not as it's subdued, and like an hour later, let it warm up. It just more flavors. You can actually pick out any flaws in your own home brew.
Yeah.
If you let it warm up, just
Yeah, it just tastes nasty then, though.
But
warm.
It's a good way to taste it. I mean, it's just like tasting it raw.
Yeah. Mine's nasty even when it's cold. That doesn't make a difference.
No, good beer should taste good at all temperatures.
Exactly.
It should have an
but
ideal
different
temperature.
at different temperatures.
Yeah,
yes.
different. I disagree. There's a lot of beers that I love that I think are great beers that don't taste good when they're not ice cold. You know, they just get warm and they're not, and I think they're great beers. So I disagree. I think that's a lot to do with a palate, and mine is definitely a hardcore American palate in the sense of ice cold beer is the way to go. You know, it's not developed into a give me something warm. I mean, even my Belgians, whatever, I want them icy.
Slack them over the head.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Well, all right. We can wrap that up. Another fine tasting. John's got tastings planned all the way through the end of the year. So
yeah, he's got us planned out well into 2006.
Very nice.
I got to admit that one.
So we will be posting.
Thanks for the positive reinforcement, guys.
Oh,
we will be posting soon.
I was looking at the schedule. It's looking sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, back to this discussion because people were pretty excited about it. A lot of good things to say about not brewing to style and brewing in different regions.
Pissed off or excited? I didn't hear.
A little bit of both.
All the
same. One of our listeners, Jamil, actually a good friend of the show and helps us out on here quite a bit. He's out there. He says, so we need to drink a different beer in San Francisco than in Concord because of the distance.
You may prefer a different beer. I'm not saying you should.
And you were saying more because of the climate than the the distance.
Climate makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, if you're outside in a hot day, you're outside in a cool day. Doesn't your body chemistry respond somewhat differently?
That's true.
Do you want something different to eat? Do you want something different to drink?
I'll drink an IPA either way.
Well, yeah.
But I see your point. You definitely do crave different things. For example, if it's going non-alcoholic, my body does crave different things. I'll drink an ice cold glass of water when I'm mowing the lawn in the heat before I'll throw down a thick soda that's gonna make me kind of cough.
I've had planned for people coming over. It's been hot all week. I've got a nice Kolsch going. Man, they're gonna love this Kolsch.
Yeah.
Saturday hits. We get hit with overcast. It's cold. It's like 56 outside.
Yeah.
They're not going to like my Kolsch so much anymore.
Yeah. So you switch over.
So we're going to switch over.
Yeah. Lentil soup and Kolsch. Yeah, works real well.
Warm them up.
Well, if you were to buy a Guinness from Concord and a Guinness from San Francisco, I'm sure it would be a different tasting too. Just based on how old it is, how long it's been, how cold it's been kept in your grocery store.
I don't know about that.
Well, one good thing is it's in a can. It's in a can. It doesn't get light struck.
Yeah.
We should try that next time.
Buy from different places.
Two regions, two different stores. I think that'd be.
I think you could buy two exact, one side by side, leave one outside where it's warm, leave one in your back of your fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you taste the difference, and you know what old tastes like.
Yeah. I think they're all coming from the same distributor, whether it's once you get it to your area.
Same container load coming in the Port of Oakland or something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
A lot of it has to depend on temperature and just mechanical things you give to them. You beat them up, they're not going to taste as good.
Right.
As far as defined styles by region, just a comment from a listener that says that there's a Florida style beer that Dunedin Brewery has pioneered, and I think kind of going with what you're saying that a brewery should maybe not copy somebody else. They should do their own thing, and it sounds like he's saying that this Florida brewery did that. They made their own. They called it a Florida style beer, and they pioneered it.
Well, if all my Florida listeners would accept my apologies, then when I said there was no Florida style beer, obviously I was wrong.
Okay, there you go.
And thank God there is a Florida style beer.
Absolutely.
Why shouldn't there be?
What is the Florida style beer? Does he give any details?
He didn't say. He just said that it's by Dunedin Brewery. It's probably crotch rot.
I'll look it up
what it is.
in the guidelines.
We can look it up.
It ain't in the guidelines, I'll tell you that.
I appreciate your honesty, Brian. I really do. I mean, that's awesome.
Okay. If anti-style is the word, which you've not necessarily said it's the word, that was my coining of the phrase.
The word.
So it's definitely not his phrase, anti-style. That was me. But we'll get the gist of the question anyway. What are the basics for your beer knowledge if you're not starting out with a style?
Oh God, what I like to drink. Is that pretty basic?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you like to drink? And if you're only going what you like to drink based on what you've had and it's a yes or no thing, then you're only going to be aware of the styles. If you go, boy, I like this Guinness, but I wish it had a little more body.
Okay.
I wish it had a little more bite. I wish this Guinness had a little more of something else or a little less of something else.
Yeah.
That's where you start with. You start with something that you can taste, and then you say, from there, I would like this other thing.
Okay.
That's a very good point.
So there's nothing wrong with starting from styles and beers from other regions. You start with what you like, and then you make it better.
Well, if you want to learn from diversity, you need to taste things from other regions.
Right.
And that's, I know one brewer in particular who I felt was kind of locked in his own region. He didn't know what else was out there, and I tried to get him to try beers from so many other microbreweries to get a sense of what else in the world is out there.
Yeah.
Once you get locked in your own little world, you don't know what else is out there. There's incredible things out there.
Yeah.
So you try some things that you don't know, and it opens your mind up, hoping you go, wow, I never knew it could do that.
Okay.
I went to Pilsen in Prague, and I thought Pilsners were just a lame-ass light beer. I mean, even Miller, I believe it's a Miller Lite, says a fine Pilsner-style beer on the label. Could be wrong about that. It's one of the Miller products, I believe. And so when I went over there, I thought, it's just a damn lame light beer. Yeah. And then I went, oh my God, Pilsners can taste like this?
Yeah.
And no one knows what a Pilsner tastes like unless you've been in the Czech Republic. Yeah. And the stuff that's imported over here, let's say, can we say old?
6 months later.
We've had that discussion in here. I've tried Czech Pils in here, and it's not good because it's old and it's oxidized and it's who knows where it's been.
Yeah. So we know where it's been.
I'll tell you this, a quick plug, not that they did anything for me, but I had a Trumer Pils last night, and I've had it before, but I had it out of the tap last night. I really like that Pils. Trumer Pils out of the tap. It was out of a keg.
Get him get off those green bottles.
Got to get out of the green bottle, but out of the tap. I really, really enjoyed that beer. Good.
They
good
won't
Pils.
probably get away from the green bottles.
Good
it's
Pils.
just their look.
Well, and it's kind of as a Pils, being imported from Europe. I think they're kind of playing off of the Czech. Style
no, it's an Austrian
with
style.
The green bottle.
It's not trying to reproduce a Czech style.
No, but they'll sell more Pils by putting it in a green bottle because they think that the people who like that style will associate.
Heineken and Beck's. It's all European style.
So that's what I mean is that I think they won't go from the green bottle because it's a marketing tool in that sense.
If you can't make it from Berkeley to Concord without tasting skunky, there's a problem.
I think they've done an incredible job, and I just think it's wonderful that there's actually a small brewery, well, they're not so small, but starting up making lagers and trying to do a really good job of it.
Yeah.
And there's some places, I think North Carolina and some other places back east where they have that beer, and if you were out there, by God, pick it up and drink it. It's amazingly good.
If you can get it on tap.
It's good, man.
It's really, really good. And you can taste that it should be good if you get a good bottle of it, too.
Yeah.
It's a well-made beer. You never know.
It's a good bottle. But Trumer Pils.
And contrary to some of the advertisements, Lars Larson is a good conversationalist.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Disregard that. It's just marketing crap.
Yeah. Let's see. Just a follow-up. The Florida beer is based on a Belgian-style beer, a triple. That's what they based it on and then made it their own.
Oh, I think the climates are very similar, if I remember.
Right.
Maybe my geography.
You're full of gems, Brian. Full of them.
Not a gem.
What was that hurricane that hit Belgium last month?
The triple.
Triple.
Okay, how about this? Now, start talking about your beer specifically, because you how many style of beers do you brew right now? How many different beers?
Oh God, all the time at least 6 or 7, and then, throughout the year I make another half dozen or more.
Okay. We need to switch from this one. We get you get a taste of a different one as we carry on this discussion. Let's do that.
You check out his website. Yeah. What's your website, Brian?
Moonlightbrewing.com.
Yeah, he's got 4 lagers, 3 ales, 3 seasonals, and 2 previous brews.
And 2 previous.
Or whatever that.
Yeah. Okay. So quite a few. This particular question from the chat room is about your Green Bud Ale, which
now we should be a little succinct about this. Green Bud is only on tap at the Toronto and San Francisco. Everywhere else is called homegrown.
Is that right?
There is a large brewing company in this country, and they have this huge task force of attorneys, and they don't like the word Bud used on anything but their products. So I don't want to give them extra things to do. So no, the beer is actually called homegrown in most places.
Interesting point. We had another brewer in here kind of say the same thing. One of Lagunitas' beers used to be called something else.
It was called...
you don't mean the Chronic, which was...
Chronic.
Yeah, now see
that's not the Bud
That's
deal,
a BATF. No, they have other things.
But you're talking the
they
Bud
just
name.
don't have attorneys. They have people that yank your license.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't want to mess
this
with
question, in your Green Bud Ale
jackbooted,
or your homegrown ale, what amount of green hops do you add and is it at the end of the boil only?
Oh God, no.
No? Okay.
I don't know the numbers. That's
too
hard to remember.
We talking a lot here?
Okay, this is a 14-barrel batch.
Okay.
Now, first of all, you have to understand, when you use fresh hops, they're so much more moist. You can't consider the pounds of those hops, or the ounces, equivalent to the pounds or ounces of dry hops.
Yeah.
Because there's so much extra water. Use a factor of 4 or 5.
Yeah.
That, basically, 1 pound of dry hops is equal to 4 or 5 pounds of wet hops. So in that 14-barrel batch, oh God, I use actually pellets in the bittering. just because it'd be such a waste to boil off all those delightful aromatics for the bittering. But for the second and third editions, I believe there was about 35, 36, something like that, pounds of wet hops.
Okay.
And that was all Cascades. And then I split the batch once it went into aging a week later, 10 days later. I split the 14-barrel batch into 2 Grundies. One was dry hopped with Cascades, and one was Chinooks. There are actually a few nuggets thrown in there and some other things, but basically that. And one tank was all Chinooks, and the other tank was all Cascades, plus or minus. And there, I think there was... Oh God, my memory is just not worth remembering much. Probably an additional 20 pounds of each, something like that. And that's another 7 barrels. So they are the Cascade version, Cascade dry hop version, and the Chinook dry hop version are both out there. And actually we have a little Cascade dry hop version here, and maybe everybody else could open their kegs of that at the same time. We can pour it just like, oh no, never mind.
I'm excited about that one, actually. Not just because it's called Green Bud.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's homegrown.
Because I'm a hophead.
The hops are grown at my home.
Yeah.
So all you guys out there brewing with your homegrown hops, take into consideration what he said.
Yeah. What's that ratio that you said again? Dry hop to wet hop?
4 or 5.
4 or 5.
4 or 5 to 1.
To 1. Yeah. Okay, that's a good thing.
So
to
that
know.
comes up a lot. Can I use my wet hops, homegrown, and for that kind of thing? And you said you don't use it for bittering.
Well, you could. I'd be curious if you use them as especially first wort hoppings. You'd probably get some incredible things out of there. But I just was so afraid to boil off those things. If you knew how much work it takes to grow hops and to harvest those hops, you don't want to lose any of that.
Yeah. So use them for aromatic, use them for flavor.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And do some pellet hops for some bittering.
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah. And don't smoke them because you just get a headache.
No, you can vaporize them, but you can't smoke them because they just burn out.
Yeah. You can't vaporize them though? And how does that work?
I've heard that.
I used to ask every brewer who came in here if they smoked hops, but I got over that.
No, actually, I wouldn't recommend it with the wet hops. I think you can vaporize dry hops.
I think we've all come up to, they've all smoked hops.
Yeah, pretty much everybody.
Just to try it.
Yeah.
I didn't inhale though.
Of course not. Of course not.
Oh no.
Brian from Moonlight Brewery is with us today, in case you're just tuning in. Did you ever homebrew?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
How long did you do that before you were became a quote-unquote, and I do use those
terms
seriously,
loosely?
Yeah, professional brewer.
You could say I still home brew.
I could say he pretty much still home brews.
It's just very large batches, larger than most people, and
Yeah.
I do have a license, so that kind of throws that out. But
right.
I actually did several fermentations. The first fermentation I ever did was in high school. I found an article in the back of Scientific American under amateur scientists how to make mead, honey wine.
All right.
And God, this stuff was disgusting.
Yeah.
As of most first batches.
And I think about 15, 20 years later, my father brought out a bottle of mine that I had made for Thanksgiving. It's like, oh God, so embarrassing. Yeah. But when I tried other commercial meads, it wasn't that far off. So I don't think I did a bad job. I just am afraid it's not.
So you think the
beverage
14
choice.
years made it better?
Yeah.
It made me that much more embarrassed. Yeah.
I'll say this, a brief side note. I had my first taste of a mead, just a couple weeks ago. Man, that is not good stuff. No. I don't know.
No, I think it can be delicious stuff, but I just haven't found the right
found one that is yet
of it, shall we say.
Oh, okay.
I like mead.
You do? Yeah, but you like a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm weird. I like banjo. You know.
Shirt.
Yeah. You want my banjo song again?
Hey, don't get on my shirt, man.
Peace, man. Yeah, he's got the hippie shirt on.
I guess I never did answer your question. I did homebrew a few times.
Okay.
And not to mention recipe formulation, which is like a 10-gallon scale and stuff. I did that quite a few times. But I did homebrew a few times, and basically I remember giving it to landlord in Davis because he would drink it at least.
Ah, there you go. Now, which one did you pour us here? This is Death and Taxes, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how would you describe this beer?
First of all, I tell people who they see it dark and they go, "Oh, that's a stout, isn't it?" I go, "No, it's a miserable stout and a lame-ass porter."
Okay, it's definitely definitely dark.
I get like a coffee, taffy, chocolate, caramel flavor going on
all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How do you spell
delicious.
that?
I can't do that right now.
This is a lager. First of all,
Okay.
It's 5% alcohol.
How long did you lager it
5.0. Oh God, this tank's probably about 3 weeks. Probably about 2 weeks lagering with a week
delicious.
of other.
Yeah, the taste is.
Exactly.
I'll tell you, I don't like the aroma coming up to my nose when I was drinking it. I didn't like it, but I do like the taste.
It's got a lager aroma. It's got the sulfur. Smell sulfur.
Yeah, and that's what I guess what it's.
Yeah,
it's sulfur.
It's definitely lager.
But once it hits your mouth, that's good. A lot of coffee, I wouldn't say chocolatey. I would say coffee roasty.
Some people swear there's coffee in here. Some people swear there's chocolate in here. There's neither one.
You want to talk to us a little? Can you tell us a little bit about what is in here?
There's malt.
And some yeast.
Water.
And some water.
I don't believe you.
Fair amount of water.
Yeah. There's a lot of black malt. I use pretty much all different kinds of dark malts.
Okay.
I like complexity in beer.
You do?
I think that's
Okay.
real critical.
Okay.
Unless you want something a lot more beer, then, you just want to get it over with and done. But otherwise, I like to linger over beer, and so complexity to me is most found by a multitude of ingredients. So I add quite a few different dark malts, but especially black malts.
Okay. All right.
Well, your balance of black malts or dark malts is exceptional. Well done.
Well, thank you.
What kind of hops are you using in here?
Let's see. Bittering, we have Horizons. Used to be Galenas, and I changed those. I like them both. Actually, I love Galenas, but they're supposed to be high in Bohemia land, so whatever.
Can't have that. No.
God, no. I'm not buying from certain suppliers. And then for the last two editions, so basically 3 editions, there's no dry hops, of course, because that'd be really wrong in this beer. It's too crisp for a dry hop edition.
Okay.
And the second and third edition, it's actually equivalent of a bit of nuggets. I love nuggets. They're just real musty and heavy. And in extreme amounts, nuggets are really disgusting. But in small amounts, they just really fill in and add a nice, heavier notes to it.
Okay.
And then Spaltz and Pearlies. It's a lager. It needs a lager.
You finished with the Perlay?
Oh, yes.
Wow. I usually bitter with them and then... No.
Really? Okay.
Nice. I'm going to try that because this is nice.
All right, you want to take our first caller, kids?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I don't know what to expect, Brian. Could be great.
Hopefully a complaint.
I don't think you'll have a problem with
Probably
that.
somebody tell me, it's wrong. It's just wrong. It doesn't fit the West Beer style.
Yeah, I can tell you eat that up. You're just like me. I'd loved hearing that.
It's
You're doing it
good
wrong.
radio.
F you. Brewing Network, you're on the air.
How's it going?
It's going well. Who are we talking to?
Talking to Heath.
Heath, how are you? I saw you this morning on the Brew Show, on the Blues Show. Thanks for calling. What's on your mind?
I was just curious. I was kind of pointing on my question earlier about how, you were talking about the anti-style, and I know this wasn't his terminology.
Yeah, that's
and of
okay.
course, there's got to be some basis for his recipes and everything. Is it just based on a name or a tweak of a recipe? I mean, I heard him talk about how German beers don't go good with tacos.
Yeah.
But aren't most Mexi beers Bavarian yeast and basically run by Germans?
And lager, and definitely lager style beers. That's a good point.
I was just kind of, he kind of sounded like a politician to me, kind of avoiding the question.
Okay. Brian, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, actually, you're very right that Mexican beers are pretty much all lagers. You wouldn't want an ale, a nice British-style beer in Mexico. It just really doesn't sound right.
Okay.
That's not really my question, though. It was more based on the fact that, you got to have some basis for something. And is it nothing more than a name change for you?
No, not at all.
Or is it just a recipe tweak and you just call it something else?
No. I don't start with a recipe and tweak it to something else. I start with, actually what happens is I get an idea, I get a flavor and a taste in my head. It's maybe this sick thing I should probably have checked out and be committed, but I get a flavor in my head, in my mind, in my palate. And then it's almost like I hear a writer talk about, and a songwriter, as was when I just heard recently, he was saying, I have to write this song down or else I'm not going to sleep tonight. It's going to drive me nuts. And so they have to write the song down to get it out of their head. So I get these flavors in my mind. Again, maybe it's a sick thing. I don't know. Actually, I do know, but, so I get a flavor in my mind. Like, I want to drink this flavor. And then I have to go in the brewery and find the ingredients to make this flavor. And I wish I could say it's real simple. Like I took a beer, like I took a Guinness and I wanted it to be different. I'm sorry, it's just not like that.
Well, that's not real. Basically, you were saying someone would come into your place and they would ask for a pale ale, and they basically don't know what you're brewing. So you don't brew pale ales, or you don't have anything. It's just basically a name change. It could basically be a pale ale in essence, but you've made it into something else.
Oh, I make, first of all, it's not that I have a place, but places that sell the beer, it's all draft that I distribute. People that come in those places. But I don't make any beer that fit in a pale ale, category for judging or anything like that. I really don't think most of my beers would fit in any category per se. So it's not just a name change, it's the fact that I don't fit in any, legitimately beer style category.
Well, when you're coming up with a style or a flavor in your head in the brewery, what is that? What's going on in your head at that point in time, and why? I mean, what is encouraging you to come up with this black lager that I'm drinking here? Is it some dream you had, a vision,
well, some of it's yes,
genius?
And some of this is the people that actually this is one of the inspirations for the Death and Taxes. Is people came to me and said, "Oh, dark beers are always strong, aren't they?"
Right.
And the number of times I had to explain to people that no, dark beers are not necessarily stronger. Most of the time, dark beers are stronger because you want a balance. You want a balance of the amount of alcohol, the amount of flavor, the amount of body. You want all that stuff to come together. Balance is so critical for beer. I think a lot of people forget about that.
I completely agree. I mean, most of my brews that I make, I mean, I couldn't send them off to be judged because most of the IBUs, I mean, I'm a serious hophead, and most of my stuff is way out of the IBU range, or has some of this in it, that spices, whatever it may be.
So you're in the hophead category. Do you make the hophead style beers? Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, okay. In response to not having, I would absolutely call this beer a porter. If I had to describe it as something,
that's just wrong. It's a
I know you brew
porter.
it as a lager. You're using lager yeast, but flavor wise, to me, it's in the porter category.
He could pass this up as a Schwartz.
Yeah,
beer.
it's a Schwartz.
A Schwartz beer.
Oh my ass.
His style.
You say
don't
no?
make me come across this table on you,
If I was
buddy.
to judge it, I'd say it's a Schwartz beer.
But you say no.
Don't make me come across the table and spill my beer.
Why do you say no on the Schwartz beer?
I don't know what a Schwartz beer is.
Schwartz beer.
And I'm not trying to copy a German style.
But it's not. It's like a lager, but it's dark, but it's not overly roasty, but it's very well balanced.
Okay, I guess my best answer to that is, if I had been to Germany and had Schwarz beers, I've been to Germany, didn't have a Schwarz beer there. Mm-hmm. If I'd been to Germany and had a Schwarz beer, I might know what they mean a Schwarz beer to be. A Schwarz beer is not a bunch of words written in some list. A Schwarz beer is everybody in Germany who drinks Schwarz beer and that they know what it is. It means a Schwarz beer to them.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just like when I went to the
between champagne and sparkling wine.
No, see, that's a name issue.
Yeah,
that's very much a name
That's an
issue.
Appalachian. That's
Yes, okay, but the difference is more like when I went to Prague and Pilsen and tried what a Pilsner was, and before that I thought it was just a lame-ass light beer. And so anybody that makes a lame-ass light beer can call it a Pilsner. Well, God, no. If you go there, you understand what all the people in the world, in the Czech Republic and in Europe, know a true Pilsner is.
Okay.
We don't know that here. And the things we have that are true Pilsners that we get are so old and disgusting, there's no connection whatsoever to what it really tastes like over there. Please, buy an airplane ticket. Go to Prague. It's a beautiful city. They speak enough English. And the places that I went, it was like the expensive places were a full euro, with almost $1, full euro for half liter Pilsner. Oh my God, that's so expensive. The cheap places like,
and they're friendly there.
And the cheap places for 70 cents you can get a half liter.
They even liked you.
Well,
yeah, that's really sad. No,
right.
So what I'm trying to say is, don't call this a Schwarz beer. I won't accept it being called a Schwarz beer in the sense that I don't know what that is. I don't know what the people that drink Schwarz beers every day.
Then why did you use a lager yeast?
Because I wanted that clean, crisp flavor.
Okay.
Because there's more dark beers in the world made with lager yeast than they're just called Schwarz beers.
Okay.
And
So since you don't have like anything that's based on other stuff, what do you call your beer?
I call this a black beer.
Just call it a black beer.
It's a good black beer.
It is definitely a black beer.
It's a good black beer.
And actually, early on, when I was first making this, I did see a Sapporo black beer, which I liked.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lager also. And I remember coincidentally finding it at a tasting I had and trying the two side by side. They were nothing alike.
Yeah.
But they don't have that fullness and the richness. Anchor Porter. I love Anchor Porter. It's just, oh God, there's everything in there you could ever want in a porter.
Okay.
Compared to this, oh God, this is water.
You would say that's bad then. Okay.
That's why this is a lame-ass porter.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not a
now,
porter.
I'll tell you,
It's not a porter.
That's right. It's a lame-ass porter.
I don't mind, actually.
L.A.
I like that you say that it's a black beer. I don't mind that as a categorization because you're not fitting it in any category. And I actually even appreciate you saying that you wouldn't call it a Schwarzbier because you've never had one, and if you had, it wouldn't have been a good one because you didn't have it in Germany.
And if Miller can
that I can appreciate.
If Miller can call their beer a Pilsner, then no.
And I agree with that too, because it's obviously if it is, it's a horrible Pilsner. Like you're saying, this would be a horrible porter. However, with that said, it's human nature, and it's a way that we try to organize ourselves. That we need some sort of we need something to relate to. So at the same time that I don't mind you just saying that it's a black beer, I don't mind making comparisons about it so that my brain can grasp what kind of style of beer I might be getting close to.
Mm-hmm.
Hence,
that's absolutely my point as well.
Right.
I mean, basically, if you took the recipe for the Schwarzbier and maybe laid it up and compared it with yours, there might be a lot of similarities.
I think a Schwarzbier actually tends to have a little more body, a little more caramel to it. The German dark beers tend to have more caramel. This has absolutely zero caramel.
Tastes like.
I've had German dark beers, which I would tend to assume what I know of German lagers and German dark lagers. They tend to have caramels in them as part of the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably have had something called a Schwarzbier, I've just not been conscious of it. But German dark beers tend to have some sort of caramel. There's absolutely zero caramels in this. So
is this what you've read, or that's from personal experience?
Personal experience.
Oh, okay. I'm not trying to break your balls. I mean, I was just trying to completely understand where you're coming from on this.
And I'm sorry, I don't know how you could...
It sounds kind of bizarre, because we all got to start somewhere. I mean, I can call my car, a transportation device, but it's still a car.
Yeah, but I think what Brian's saying is that you start out every car is based on the Model T, right? Or the first car out there.
Yeah.
But my car and your car are different cars, but they're still cars. So
although John's car is just a transportation device.
Yes. Is a Hummer a sedan, or is a Hummer a station wagon, or is a Hummer a whatever?
As are you hitting on me?
Oh, that's your Hummer out there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we won't even start.
As people, as humans, we need to classify things.
That's what I mean.
To make it proper and for us to understand. But the Belgians, I mean, if you go to Belgium, there's no style, there's no triple, there's no double. It's beer. And it's different beer.
That's a good point, Jason.
Yeah, and as far as the Miller thing, the Miller, they say it's a Pilsner because it's made with a lager yeast, I imagine.
Yeah, but a lot of beers are made with lager yeast that aren't Pilsners.
They say American style Pilsner. And that's the category they win every other year at GABF. But that's...
I thought it was carbonated water.
Exactly.
Yes, there's malt flavoring.
That's what he said, American Pilsner.
But that's not much of a marketing tool for,
water.
I got a gold for carbonated water. But style guidelines in beer can be two separate things. This might taste like a Schwarzbier, but it also tastes like a light porter. It's more hoppier than any Schwarzbier I've had, but then again, I've only had 2 or 3, and they were not German. They were completely American Schwarzbiers. So it's different. I think Brian capitalizes on his style, and this is what he likes to drink. But to say it's a style kind of takes away some of the romanticism about it, because it's not necessarily what he's trying to brew. It's what he likes to drink, and that happens to fall into a style. It's the reverse.
I completely respect that, because people that come over and drink my beers, they're like, well, what is this? What's the flavors? And I like you were saying, we have to have some sort of something to attach, a moniker.
Exactly.
We have to attach it to something.
So maybe you want to have...
well, I brewed it, based on this certain thing.
So just tell them it's loosely based on something where you started from. And Brian said, I started from something, but I want more of this, I want less of that, and that's what we're shooting for.
And when I tell people it's a black lager, to me that's enough.
Okay.
It's a lager, which means it should be clean and crisp. It's not full, it's not hearty, it's not anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's black.
Yeah.
I don't say dark. It's black. It's flat out black.
Yeah.
I think also the more you get into brewing, the more you know what grain tastes like. The more brewers you talk to, well, how do you know what this is going to taste like? Oh, I just know what the grains are going to be. So after a certain point, you get your beer knowledge. Automatically you're thinking about what it's going to be, churning it in your head about your next beer. You're not saying, well, I want to make a porter, but I want this. You just say, I want these grains because I like the way they come together. What ratio am I going to put it in? So you're not basing on a style. You're happening to, you happen to make a beer that could be classified in a certain style if you wanted to do that.
Yeah. But I would challenge all homebrewers to try to brew to style, because I think you'll learn a lot about styles and at first, yes. Mm-hmm. But don't put away your creativity. Be unique and go for it. Add things like Brian's saying, count kernels and grains and,
And don't worry about what your neighbors want to, the neighbors are going to want a starting point.
My neighbors hate me.
What am I drinking here? And I get that a lot. What am I drinking here?
Yeah.
Well, loosely it's based on a pale ale. Loosely it's based on an English ale, porter, a stout, something. You give them throw them a bone.
Are your neighbors beer geeks? Because if I get this to my
I'm turning them into them. Yeah.
Okay, but if I get this to my neighbor and say, "What are you drinking?" I say, "It's a dark beer. What do you like? What do you think? Do you like it?"
Yeah.
And they might go, "Yeah, it's pretty good."
Yeah. I live in the country, so the only bar is down the street, and I think they don't even have a tap.
That's
I
great.
went in there one night, and I said, I'm like, this isn't a bar.
So they have bottled Belgians?
They kicked me out, and they said, well, why don't you go home and drink on your tap then?
Oh.
Because it doesn't
and you
fit
said,
the style of a bar.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
I have one neighbor that comes over, and he's almost afraid because he can't come over without having 3 or 4 beers.
I don't know. That's nothing to be
He wants to come
of.
over and talk to me about something else.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's going to have 3 or 4 beers.
Dr. Scott has 3 neighbors in a 5-mile radius.
By the way. Just like Heath, apparently. Hey, Heath, I'll tell you what. I really appreciate the call, and I appreciate you stating your opinion and asking Brian what to clarify.
Hey, he manned up.
That's right.
That's the way to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling,
man.
All right. That's cool. I like that because we talk about it all the time in here that nobody, you don't have to agree, and actually he just wanted some clarification. And like I said, I'll just repeat it real quick. I like that you call it a black beer. I can deal with that.
Black lager.
And then a black lager. And then I can leave it up to myself to associate it to other things. And you don't want me to call it a Schwarz beer, but if I need to associate it to something, that's what's going to happen.
No,
basically.
don't associate. Come on, start from scratch.
I have to. I got to associate because I need to know. I need a frame of reference, and I think a lot of people do. In fact, like this question here: how does the customer know what he gets if he goes out and buys your beer? Beer drinkers like to know a little bit about what they're getting. And for me, sometimes I'm okay with just ordering at random. Give it to me. Let me see if I like it. But very often, like a beer drinker and like a home brewer in general, you do like to know what you're getting, and I do need a frame of reference in that sense.
Well, I have to say, it really goes as a disservice to me to have non-legitimate beer styles, because those same people want to, like you say, they're laying out $4, $5 for a pint.
Yeah.
And they want to know they're not like gambling with that.
Sure. So how do you approach that then? Telling them what they're getting.
Well, they're just gonna have to wing it. When I go to a place,
I
go to a place, I see something I've never had before, I want to try it. And sometimes it's disgusting, I don't finish it. And sometimes you go, wow, I never knew you could do that with beer.
Yeah. I actually was hoping that was your answer.
Most places, if you're bold enough and you say, I don't know what that is, can I try some? They'll give you a 1 ounce pour. And you try that, wow, that's cool, let me have some more of that. Instead of like sinking $5 or $6 into 16 ounces.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, let's look at something different. I see a lot of small breweries, like especially Russian River, trying to make Belgian styles and things like that. Now, isn't that the same sort of thing? You're taking people's mindsets and you're just taking it and it's about a 7.9 earthquake and shaking them up and throwing them out the window. Now you're saying you're totally starting from scratch.
Yeah.
We're putting disgusting pediococcus in the beer. That's disgusting. And so
that's foot mung.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're putting other organisms in there, and you're saying, okay, well, now try this. Now, isn't that totally the same thing as just shaking up a person's comfortable mindset and making them try something different? I think it is.
Okay.
And
I actually, like I said, I was hoping that your answer was kind of wing it. Hey, maybe you like it, maybe you won't.
People don't like it. I'm fine with that. I love it that people don't like it. There's plenty of beers out there.
That's what I figured you were going to say. And I don't mind. I don't think that's for every brewer, but I appreciate that you do it that way, to be honest, because you're kind of right. It's not for, if you need to know what style it is, maybe you're not going to buy a Moonlight. But if you want to just grab a beer and see if you like it or not, and you're either going to finish it or you're going to dump it, like I did at the NCHF a couple weeks ago.
Or you can go with the Justin etiquette.
Yeah.
It's beer.
It's beer.
It's beer.
I pretty much finish it even if it's fake. It tastes like
beer.
Brian, if your beer tasted like feet, I'd tell you it was bad and tasted like feet, and I'd finish it.
Yeah. But Justin at least
Let me take my shoes off.
Justin at least knows that if it's balanced, malt, hops, and a nicely balanced beer that tastes like feet, he'll probably finish it.
Yeah, but the general public, mass consumption, don't know that.
Yeah.
And if that was me, I'd make a beer and I'd call it Foot.
But that's probably why. Well, I hope you do that, Brian.
I don't think that this beer in particular,
tastes like feet now.
I don't think that your black lager is so out there, say, that it can't be categorized. I think I've had a black lager that tastes similar, and so I don't, and that's why I think I can, as a frame of reference, that I can associate it with something else.
Listeners, don't believe him.
Yeah, they don't anyway. Don't worry about it. Can we switch over to the homegrown? I should call it
homegrown ale,
because I'd like to taste that and get a little discussion going about that one. While we're doing that, some of our listeners have done their research. Brian, can you tell us about your beer Eye Exam?
Eye Exam, oh yeah, that was one keg of that went to the Sonoma Wine Exchange.
Okay,
and that was probably that's Carlos. That was a keg where it was the end of the double IPA, and it wasn't enough to complete the keg. It was only half full, and so I topped it up with a regular IPA. So it's kind of a 1.5 IPA, and halfway to double vision is an Eye Exam, isn't it? You go to the Eye Exam and you say, well, yeah, okay, vision's not so great, but it's not double vision, so
not quite yet.
Yeah. So that would be the Eye Exam.
Okay.
And actually the balance came out just perfect.
Really? Of mixing the two?
Yeah. Now, see, the double vision, I made the double IPA. To me, I followed something that, there's some guy named Vinny who came up with the style. I read something about him. He said you basically, double the hops identically, and you add 20% more pale malt. And that's what I made from my Bombay by Boat regular IPA.
Okay.
That's the double visions, exactly double the hops and 20% more pale malt.
Okay.
And so what I've found is when you're blending beers, having the same hop varieties in them makes a huge difference. It tastes so much better. If you have dissimilar ones, it tastes a little more awkward.
Okay. I got another question from the chat room.
I don't know why I thought that. Oh no.
Do you make any money? They want to know. And I think that must be in response to my last question about, how, do you sell it? And I appreciated that you said, hey, buy it if you want it or don't. They want to know if you make any money.
How many barrels, too, per year?
Let's see. Last year I made a little over 700. This year I'm about looking at 900. Do I make any money? Well, I do actually buy groceries.
Yeah.
My girlfriend has a job.
Very nice.
Which somewhat supports me.
The man drove an hour and a half to get here, so you can afford gas in your car.
I afford gas, and the vehicle I'm driving, it's almost 200,000. It's almost 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's over 100,000. Yeah, it's 106,000. So, yeah, I don't drive Mercedes anymore. But, yeah, I make enough of a living to do it. If I took all the money I invested in the brewery and put it into something more intelligent like a stock market or Budweiser stock,
you might do
I probably would have done a lot better. But
but that's no fun.
I would have a horrible job that I would hate, and I had a Budweiser stock. I think I'd prefer this.
Yeah.
And plus, I got something to drink.
What do you get out of
and free T-shirts?
What do you get out of it? I mean, running a brewery. Is it rewarding to you?
It keeps me out of trouble.
Okay.
I get T-shirts, and I get hats, and I get all the beer I like to drink.
These are all good things.
If you go in my kitchen, you'll see tons of Moonlight Brewing Company glasses.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my daughters still have to buy groceries. They won't drink my beer. No, it keeps me out of trouble. That's fun.
Whether you agree with Brian or not, and whether you have his beer and say that you can put it in a style or not, I'll tell you this, I think he makes money because the beer is good. It is good beer. I don't care what, like I said, whether you believe the philosophy or not.
It's pretty good.
I like the beer.
Yeah. There was a time, not that many years ago, unfortunately, when people could start a brewery, small brewery, and the beer wouldn't be so great, and they could actually survive for a while.
Yeah.
And I think that's long gone, and I'm really grateful for that.
Absolutely.
Because now, if you go out, you try a micro, they're generally all pretty dang good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't always like that, and I think we really need to toast that, if you will, because
I will toast that to breweries making good beer.
Yes, cheers.
An odd concept that took a while to catch on.
Yeah. But, there's good beer out there, and don't think you can start a brewery if you don't make good beer, because you will pretty much, let's say, lose everything you've got.
Right. Well, that's fair enough. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're reaching the 7 o'clock hour. We're not getting out of here because I'm having a good time and we got a lot of beer left to finish, and I think we're having some good conversation.
Good talk, yeah.
So I'm going to take a quick break, just one song, and we're going to get right back to it because we just poured another one of his beers. Now, this one you do call an IPA, though.
The homegrown? Oh, hell no.
You don't call it an IPA. All right, save it. We'll do it when we come back then.
No, this is a fresh hop beer. There's no way.
Fresh hop beer.
This could be a fresh hop IPA if you really wanted to go there, but its main character is not that it's an IPA. Its main character, it's a fresh hop beer. It has the fresh hop characters.
Okay.
So, my take is I try to explain to people, I give them 1 or 2 words, which most describes the beer. Either they like it or they don't.
Okay.
And to me, fresh hop is all you need to know.
Actually, that would work for me. If you said fresh hop, I'd try it out.
If you're a hophead, yeah.
I am a hophead. Everybody knows that. All right, we'll be right back with Brian Hunt from Moonlight Brewing Company.
The Brewing Network, saving your life, one beer at a time.
All right, we're back. I'm having a good time today, folks.
Me too, man.
I don't know about everybody else,
good
but
beer, good talk.
Like a little controversy. I like good beer, and I'm getting both. So I'm happy about that.
We kicked Dr. Scott out, and I'm having a great time.
Yeah, Doc's gone. No, he's still here. A couple things I want to get to real quick. First of all, I want to tell you, and I want to thank some people. I want to thank all of you, actually.
Especially me?
No.
Wait, I'll say that again.
Actually, this would go to the listeners. I want to thank you and let you guys just a little insight about the world of the Brewing Network. In the past couple weeks, we have been receiving record numbers and a record response from all of you as far as the amount of people not only contributing, donating, tuning in, sending emails. I can't even say all the ways that you guys are really making it happen in the last couple weeks. And today is actually probably one of our biggest days as far as that goes. And yeah, absolutely. And I in mentioning that, I also want to say I think that our web provider for the first time, and I don't mean our streaming provider, I mean our web hosting provider, might not have been able to handle the traffic that we received today. So I want to apologize if you got kicked out of the chat room quite a bit, and I know the page was slow in loading. I'll tell you this, that we had more people show up right at 5 o'clock than we ever have before. As a trend, it usually takes a few minutes. People come in waves to the show. Right. We get a lot of people at 5 o'clock, but it peaks, and you know, there's some peaks and valleys in there. Today in particular, lots of you really came at 5 o'clock, and that's what happened with the slow page loading and some buffering issues. I'm going to call all of my providers tomorrow and get right on that and upgrade if we have to.
It takes us a few minutes to get rolling at 5
just to get rolling. But
it really just takes a lot.
Thank you, Jason.
I think all the archives have that.
He is so close to me. He's an elbow away.
Yeah.
White dot, black dot. Man.
Be careful with Dr. Scott. When he's inebriated, he tends to hit you on the face.
He gets angry. Yeah. So I just want to say I'm going to get right on all those issues because I like all the people coming. I really appreciate it, and you guys have been helping us out like never before in the past couple weeks. Lots of good suggestions coming from you guys. Like I said, donations, which are keeping us alive, paying our monthly bills. You name it. You guys are making it happen out there. So round of applause to the listeners.
Thank you.
And just that's why you guys are having some of those getting kicked out of the chat issues. And I'll take care of it. I did it after our first show. I got it fixed. I'll get it fixed after this one. So come back next week and it should be good.
Me an email address.
And I'll get Doc an email address. Yeah. I might even do that tonight. At the same time, as a homage to some of our listeners who really contribute to the forum all the time and are always contributing to the show, calling in. They're in the chat room with Daniela each week, and you know, some of these guys really make the show happen. We rely on their questions and their input, and they make it a better show. As an homage to them, as well as a funeral to the top 10 list, I am going to do our last top 10 list on the show. I am Xing out the top 10 lists. It was short-lived, and people were complaining about us meandering on too long in the beginning of the show. So the top 10 list didn't make the cut. Our listeners in the forum, our forum users, made their own top 10 list, and that today is what I'm giving to you guys. It's the top 10 signs you've had enough to drink. Doc, you contributed to this list yourself.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah. Jason, if you can come into every show and just be like Doc's, like his shadow, I would appreciate that. In fact, from now on, whenever you're gone, Doc, Jason won't be here as Jason. He'll be here as Doc.
Yeah, he will pay for this tomorrow.
It's okay because I could. Yeah.
You're my hero, Jay.
I think we should do a live show from his barbecue next week.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea.
No.
Okay, so the top 10 signs you've had enough to drink. This is all listener created. Although there's one in there from Doc, I think, which I put in because it was good. The rest was all listeners, and I appreciate you guys. So this is for you, and there will be no more top 10 lists.
Dang.
Unless you guys make another one, I might do maybe in 6 months we'll do a little reminder.
Protest.
Okay, the number 10 reason that you've had enough to drink. You dance naked on a table at your class reunion. Now, I think this guy must know me.
Yeah, that's what you just did.
I thought that was you.
Yeah, and I don't know if he knows me or not, but he posted it and didn't say, hey, Justin, isn't that funny, or anything else. He just said it. I wasn't naked when I danced on the table at my class reunion.
You don't remember being naked.
Number 9. Dr. Scott doesn't sound stoned. That's the number 9 reason you've had enough to drink. Number 8. You don't care that the chick you're talking to has a better beard than you do. All listener created here, folks. I've had that before, by the way. Number 7. After you throw up on your girlfriend's chihuahua, you look down and think, I don't remember eating that. Thank you, Dr. Scott.
No problem.
The number 6 sign you've had enough to drink. You've sat at a stop sign for 5 minutes waiting for it to turn green. You've all done that before. And shame on you because you shouldn't be driving in that condition. And I mean that. But that's funny. Number 5, you gotta be a listener for this one. You enjoy surfing beerpal.com. The forum that we have been excommunicated from is beerpal.com. You'll have to check the Beer Pal archive. I should change the name of that archive to the Beer Pal archive.
You should.
That is the number 5 reason you've had too much to drink. Number 4, you have to have your wife read the hydrometer sample.
That's a classic.
That you definitely know you've had too much to drink. Lufa, I think that was you, and you're a funny, funny man.
My ears hurt.
Actually, I think the next 3 are from Lufa, and they are all funny. Number 3, you piss in the back seat of the cop car. That's how you know you've had too much to drink. Number 2's even better. You ask a cop if he's the stripper you ordered and if he has the blow.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, that one had me laughing out loud. The number 1 reason, the number 1 sign that you've had enough to drink, you think that John has a chance to win at Beer Jeopardy.
Thanks, guys.
That is for you guys. Again, I appreciate all your support.
It didn't happen.
No.
Oh, man. All right, so we got this beer here, the third and I think final beer that you've brought, although we haven't really broken into those kegs too much, Brian. We might have to go backwards when we get off the show.
Yeah, okay.
What's the name of this beer? I don't want to screw it up.
Homegrown.
This is the homegrown. It's the homegrown ale, and it's a fresh hop ale.
Yes.
Okay.
6.2% volume of alcohol.
Okay.
6.2. John's got his notes. All right.
Hey,
It's I'm
prepared.
I've already been drinking it, but I'll take another one just so I can be fresh.
Oh, no, don't stop. Oh.
He says outrageous.
The aroma, if you're a hophead, man, heaven, it's a little taste of heaven right here in the studio is what it is. It tastes like fresh. It's a different, it's different than just a regular dry hop. It's a fresh hop aroma.
There's nothing like that. Yes.
They taste green. I mean, rather they smell green.
Mm-hmm.
That aroma is really a green hop aroma, and that is awesome. I used to go out to my hop plants every day and squeeze them and smell them.
It's like a testosterone thing.
Do you use an English yeast on this?
Yeah, sure.
I'm asking.
You do?
No, it's actually Irish ale yeast.
Okay. Irish ale yeast.
This is really malty, so I was curious.
Smells really good. And the flavor, now, a lot of fruitiness in it. So, definitely hoppy. Mm-hmm. Got that green hop flavor, but I get a lot of fruity, estery thing. You get that, Doc? Mm-hmm. Jason,
yeah,
you too?
A lot of caramel.
Yeah? Are we talking yeast here, or that's hops giving that fruity stuff?
That's hops.
It's the hops doing it, huh?
Yeah.
Not too much of a. It's not a bad. You have some beers and a fruity would be a bad flavor in it. It's not a bad one in this because it's.
Brian said it's all about balance, and it really, really is. And this is one of those. It's got a lot of aromatics that come up in your nose.
Yeah.
And when you taste it, you're not blasted one way or the other. It's really nice.
It's a strange thing. This is the one with the Cascade dry hops. And much earlier, it had a stronger Cascade, let's say gamey, I think we described, character to it. And that's somewhat diminished over time. And this is now what we harvested as hops, August 15th, if I remember, and the dry hops 10 days later. So it's now a little bit old. And so that has changed somewhat over time. And the fruitiness still comes out, but not so much the cat piss character.
Right.
I would have sworn that the fruity was from the yeast. What hops do you use in this to give it that kind of fruity pebble almost?
No one's hearing you.
His question was what hops were used, and the answer is this is pretty much all Cascades. But the fresh Cascades have such a different character than dry Cascades.
Yeah, I was saying that I could have sworn the yeast was responsible for the fruity character.
Well, it's
fermented a little higher temperature.
It's the same yeast as the Twist of Fate. So, I mean, if you can find it in there as well, then it's the same. But I consider using the fresh hops much like using when you're cooking, using fresh basil compared to using dry basil. They're pretty much incomparable, but they're the same plant and they have some similarities. But fresh basil, oh my God, it just like knocks your socks off.
So Twist of Fate is Irish.
Yeah,
Irish yeast.
All the ales I use are Irish.
That blows me away. That doesn't taste like Irish or anything that I've had with an Irish yeast.
I'm sorry.
You should be.
Do you use a British base malt?
I think it's just.
Oh yeah,
sure. It's much more fruity.
It's Canadian base malt.
It's just much more fruity than we're used to with this yeast. It's less dry.
It's the hops. Yeah. I tell you, it's the fresh hops. The fresh hops are just like I said. Imagine fresh basil, and compared to dry basil, it's just there's no comparison between them, and. I recommend anybody out there grow some hops. Cascades are an incredible variety. Not only do they taste good, but they seem to just grow almost like regardless of what you do.
Yeah.
So get some rhizomes. There's a couple good places to get them from. I'm sure you can find them online. Get some rhizomes, throw them in the ground, give them what they need, lots of nitrogen and stuff like that, and throw them in your homebrew.
Yeah.
Would you say the second year is better than the first year?
Jason?
At least from experience.
Could you translate, please?
Yeah, he wanted to know if
the first year is the first year better than the second year as far as your rhizomes go.
Yeah.
Well, you get more as long as it's established. So, third year getting more than the second year, and fourth year probably get more and all that sort of stuff.
It's all about yield.
Yes, but I don't necessarily see a huge difference. Let me back up a second.
Okay.
The hops that I use are the same hops that that guy from Russian River, what's his name?
Vinny.
Yeah, him. His hops came from Corbel, and when Corbel said they weren't going to do the brew anymore, he had to get rid of the hops, or Corbel wanted to get rid of the hops. And at the same time, because of political reasons, I had to put hops in. It worked just beautifully. And so Vinny and I share the hops, and we basically co-grow them and co-use them. And so these are the same hops. So I got rhizomes that were not like the tiny little things. They were the much bigger ones. They were just what we dug up from Corbel and replanted over at my place. And you're right, the first year they weren't quite as vigorous. The second year they were more. And third year they were probably even more than that. Some of that's establishment, some of that's fertilizer, some of that's all different stuff.
Do you not like Russian River beers?
I drink it every time I can.
You do? You like it? Okay.
JP,
I'm just curious.
I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah. I was just curious because you had mentioned it a couple times and not necessarily saying that you loved what they do. So I just was curious if you.
No, you know what? When Vinny first came into Santa Rosa to open a brew pub, I was pretty much really delighted. Vinny completely understands grasping people's mindset, twisting it, torquing it, throwing it out the window.
Agreed.
That's everything I believe you ought to do with beer tastes and tastes in general.
Yeah.
He did a great job of raising the bar.
Yeah.
I talked earlier about that. It's hard to find a bad beer.
Yeah.
Vinny does a great job of making incredible beers, and just some of the things he makes, I go, Vinny, you can't do that. This is wrong. And that's everything I believe. I believe everything I should do is just wrong. Yeah. And, he's kind of like, it beats me the punch sometimes. It's like, that's more wrong than I am. And, and to be honest, there's one thing that pisses me off about what Vinny's done.
Okay.
He opened this brew pub, and he had told me ahead of time that he was going to have quotes from song lyrics on the walls all over the place. And he said, gee, I'm trying to collect some. And I came up with some great song lyrics, and he never put them on the wall. That's a great thing to have in a pub. I mean, song lyrics all over the walls, and he didn't do it. And that's the biggest complaint I have about Russian River coming into my hometown.
That's a fair complaint.
Besides the fact that he closed, it wasn't him, but, he's replacing the place that was my biggest account in Sonoma County. Besides that little
thing. Yeah. Okay. Let me interrupt here for some more listener appreciation really quick. I don't mind doing this, by the way, so if any listeners ever want to do this, as long as it doesn't consume the show, I really don't mind putting in a couple words for you. This is from our good friend Oz, been listening since the beginning, contributes a lot to the show. Not always on the air, he helps me out during the week too.
Where's he from?
He's from Australia.
Okay, good.
One of our Australian listeners, and he just wants to say to his wife, Di, I love you very much, and I'm sending you a big hello. She's maybe feeling a little down tonight, he says, and wants her to know that he loves her and saying hello. And I talked to her, too. She signed into the Blues Show today as Mrs. Fancy Moo Moo Pants, which is often Oz's name, his handle in the chat room. And I talked to her a bit. She's a lot of fun, too. She's called into the show. She suggested some music. In fact, I got a song queued up for her when we take the next break. So there you go. Just a little shout-out to our Australian
Just because he's brewing beer does not mean he doesn't love you.
Yeah.
Can I interject a little something?
Please do.
My woman, Cindy, is at home drinking. She's probably finished it already. The glasses of beer I left for her, including a twist of fate. And here's to my woman that tolerates what I do and, of course, drinks a fair amount of my product as well.
There you go. How about to all the women who tolerate
To all the women, including Cindy.
Including Cindy. Cheers to that.
Yes. Wow. Thank you for tolerating everything I do.
Okay. Some of our listeners, I think our local listeners they must be, want to know if you can send a little homegrown to Beer, Beer, and More Beer with JP or John P. So that they can sample it. Everyone, now that we've talked about how good this homegrown is, wants a little sample.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
First of all, let's say no, because they instead should find themselves at the Toronado, and they know where that is in San Francisco. And those of you who are in, let's say, Australia, Florida, the East Coast, you still have time to get that airplane ticket.
Yeah, you gotta have to fly out
on the 5th, which is, I believe, is Saturday, the 5th of, I don't know, November. What month is this? 5th November. They should be at the Toronado for a Fresh Hop Beer Festival.
Oh, okay.
And there'll be both, for example, of my versions, the Chinook Dry Hop and the Cascade Dry Hop, and about a zillion other homegrown style fresh hop beers.
How about people that are members of Doe's? And we are going to have a November meeting.
Okay.
Well, my homegrown is pretty much all gone, and actually what we're drinking is my
your secret
stash.
You brought us your personal stash. That we appreciate.
Yeah.
I appreciate that very much.
But there's always next year.
There's always next year, kids. It went quick, huh? Because you only could have harvested, 3 months ago?
Whatever August 15th was, yeah.
Yeah, not even 3 months ago.
If you have saran wrap, I will saran wrap that last half of my beer.
The last half. Jason will give up the last half of his beer.
I'm a giver.
Cover it and bring it to B3.
I wouldn't believe that.
I don't either.
So John, for example, couldn't even order a keg now to get in there. It's gone.
No, that's not true. Yes, he could order a keg.
I just won't.
But not till next year.
No, I just tell him, fuck off.
But you could definitely order.
You're really good at doing, by the way.
You can order one, yes.
I like that. So you have nothing in your mindset about distributing your beer, say, to the East Coast anytime in the near future or maybe even distant future? What are you thinking about that? As far as growth for you as a brewery, not too much in the plans.
There's only so many brain cells remaining. That would be a lot of work.
Okay, fair enough. It's definitely a local beer. You're going to have to do that. I don't know if this is already on your webpage. I did look through it, but I seem to remember this might be here. One of our chat room a user said, "Can you put a list of locations on your webpage so they know where they could find your brews?"
Well, I get that request a lot, and I'd love to do that because that would make life so much easier for both the listeners, readers, whatever, and myself.
Yeah.
But there's a thing called the state California Alcoholic Beverage Control, and they view that as illegal advertising. So,
do they really?
Yeah.
Because other sites put it up. They're just doing it illegally? If you put where your beer is served, it's against code?
Well, that would be illegal advertising.
How about we just do it and see what happens?
That's really interesting to me, actually. I'm curious about that. They say you're not allowed to list your locations?
Yeah, basically so.
Wow.
Yeah, that's illegal advertising. I'd be telling people that they should go to those places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get hammered.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We wouldn't want them to get hammered.
We want them to go there and taste good beer that does not.
Yeah, that's bad news.
Conform to style.
With that said,
they have to email me, and I have to email them back because I can respond to personal requests.
Unlike me,
we could actually put it on the forum because
we could post it on our forum.
That's a private
probably
gig.
Not.
That's a private gig.
That's right.
It really
did
is.
It, not you. With that said, go to the Toronado on November 5th and try homegrown ale. Okay, that's fair. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I guess you're right. You are advertising pubs and you're advertising going to drink.
We don't want to do that. No, it's not advertising drink. It's advertising one pub over another.
Yeah.
If I'd said, go to the Mallard Club in Albany because they have my beer, and I said don't go to the what's the one down the street I always think about?
The one that doesn't have your beer?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, I can't remember
but
that
the
one
I
either.
love to because they have great music. It's the one on Solano Avenue in San Pablo.
But what's the one?
I love that place, but
what's the place that
that's
does have your
Cortese's
beer?
Pharmacy. It's not.
And if they could find that 2 streets down.
Jason?
There's a lot I don't know.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
Scott said,
you will die.
Hey, we're going to wrap things up is I think what we're going to do. Now listen, I know that Doc, you and John, who I appreciate, you've been doing some good planning to get us through the rest of the year. We got a lot of really good stuff planned for you guys come January. We're going to unveil it later, and we will unveil it in December because we want you to know ahead of time, but we really got some good surprises coming. But other than that, we've been planning out our shows to finish out this year. And one of the things that John and Dr. Scott, we were going to do it tonight, but unfortunately we're not going to do it.
You
now.
were all going to do it?
But I'm going to give a good heads up for next week. Dr. Scott has these different off-flavor tablets. Is that about right?
It's called the Beer Aroma Recognition Kit.
Okay, it's a beer aroma
they're
recognition.
basically smells that you put together in a little vial.
Okay.
And once you get it into your head, you will never forget that.
You know that smell. And it's so what we're going to do, he's got a few of them. We're going to do one each week, I think, for about the next 4 weeks or so.
Yeah. And we've tried to pair them with appropriate beer styles.
The ones that we're going to taste for our official tasting?
Exactly.
Okay. And it's going to help us to recognize off flavors. Now, I know you don't have this kit at home, but could they get the kit so they could do it with us as well?
I don't have this problem at home.
but could they get this kit at home?
Yeah, you can get through B3.
Okay.
And it comes in a little vial, and there's different flavor profiles that you can get.
Okay.
You mix it up, and you smell them.
Okay.
And you can smell this thing, and a lot of them are staling compounds or DMS or diacetyl.
Did you opened one already?
Yeah.
Well, let's do it since you open it. We'll do it real quick. Go to morebeer.com. There's probably other places you can do it. What's it called again, John? The kit?
It's Beer Aroma Recognition Kit.
It's a beer aroma recognition kit. We're going to do it a little bit right now, but for the next couple weeks we're going to do it. It's a little vial. You end up smelling it, and you're going to be able to maybe recognize it in your home brew or commercial brews as well.
No, you're going to recognize these things in imported beers that taste like.
This one especially is imported beer.
It's cardboard.
Oh, there you go.
It's rancid cardboard.
It smells like
trans 2-nonanol.
That's what it's called?
Again, yes.
Trans 2-nonanol?
Yes. And it's an aldehyde, and it's something that we can...
Now I got it on
we
my
can
fingers.
limit to a point.
It's all over me.
There you go.
Oh, it's everywhere.
He's cardboard man.
It's every pour and imported beer section of it.
How long is this going to last on my fingers?
Until you wash.
Okay.
Imported beers, they're 3, 4, 5 months old, no problem.
This is a flavor that shows up in these things?
Oh, yeah. In any imported beer, you got to taste this one.
Okay. So this is what we're going to do each week.
That's why we wanted to start with this one.
Yeah, because you can get it commonly. So buy yourself an imported beer. Try to get this kit if you can, and then you can play along as we do it for the next few weeks. Another segment that John and Doc have worked on for us.
John and I will get together and we'll post which ones are coming up. And if you want to order the kit, you can like smell it.
Yeah.
And we'll figure out which ones.
You know what it also smells like is like new.
You weren't supposed to drink it.
You could say latex.
Well, not. I didn't mean like if you go buy a raft, if you go to Costco, say, and you buy yourself an inflatable raft.
Yeah.
It smells like that new nylon.
Yeah, they put some stuff on it to have it separate it.
Yeah, that's what that smells like.
So then they'll stick together.
Okay, so those are some segments to look forward to. That's what we're going to do.
It's not a good flavor.
And tell you where you find it. It'll be a brief segment in each of the next few weeks of shows, and I'll post it soon. Mm-hmm. Brian, I want to tell you that you've been one of the most fun guests we've had in here, and I appreciate you coming in. I like that you have a stance and people disagree with it. That's just kind of how I like radio. And I like that you back it up very well. You have a lot to say, and I think you brew damn good beer. So I hope.
Well, thank you.
I'd love to have you back on the show if you'd come on later because it's a lot of fun. I hope we didn't put you off in any way.
I have no more opinions besides what I've said.
That's all right. I'm happy with those ones. We'll just repeat them.
Actually,
yeah. There's got to. Can we go into conspircy theories or anything? What you got?
I bet we could.
Government.
Or is it only beer for you?
I'll wear the other T-shirt.
Is it just me, or does anyone else think Brian looks exactly like Willie Nelson?
He does have a Willie Nelson character to him.
All right, let me take my hat off.
And that
blows it, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's no hair for the Willie Nelson.
No, there was a time I had long hair, but no, it's fallen out.
We have a segment in our forum where listeners post their pics, and usually within 24 hours of them posting their own pic, someone posts a look-alike pic of some celebrity. So maybe we'll take a picture of you today if you wouldn't mind, and I can guarantee that within 24 hours someone will have posted Willie Nelson.
Oh yeah,
I'm afraid.
Or something. So John, take a picture of him.
Yeah.
I got 3.
You know what I got today? It took them a long time to get to me, but they finally did it today. Did you see my comparison today?
No.
It was that damn Justin Timberlake. It was highly offensive.
Yeah. Actually, yes, I can see that.
Shut up. Yeah, they put a picture of him right next to me.
Yeah, I'm good. They only got the back of my head.
That's lucky.
Yes, I am. So far.
All right.
Which is how a lot of guys locally recognize you.
Yeah. I mean, even my kids. Like, Daddy, look, it's a clear spot. It must be Daddy.
Okay. Hey, not too bad. 7:30, guys. That's not too bad at all. We did all of our philandering at the end, which I'm trying to keep that in the format. Mm-hmm. Who's in next week, John? This is important stuff.
Dan Gordon from Gordon Biersch.
Gordon Biersch Brewing Company is in with us next week, which we're pretty excited about. Probably one of the most... No, it's the most widely distributed brewery that we've had on the show.
He's big. He's lager,
which is exciting, for us, just because it's he obviously knows what he's doing in the business. So we're happy to have him on about that. And yeah, lots of lager, and German style lager. Although Brian might disagree, but he says German style lager.
He was trained in Germany. I don't know why he wouldn't make German style lager.
He was absolutely trained in Germany, which is going to be exciting to talk to him about too. He spent 4 years over there?
5 years over
about 5 years.
The Weinsteifen.
Weinsteifen, yeah.
Weinsteifen.
Yeah. Good point, Brian. So I guess he would have real German style. How do you say it, Daniela?
Weinsteifen.
Weinsteifen.
You've not used your...
Weinsteifen.
I gave you your own microphone. You hardly used it tonight.
You turned me off.
I did not. You've been on the whole night.
I thought I was turned off.
No. You've been
that was metaphorical. That wasn't electronic.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, I know that. But
right,
your
Justin Timberlake. Right.
That turned her right off.
You didn't use it. I think our listeners are probably disappointed.
Well, you didn't give me the chance to talk too much.
This show is moving really fast, and it just mulled you over.
I'm just a slow brain.
We did keep it moving.
And I'm stoned, right?
You are.
Yeah.
Dr. Scott.
So next week we got Gordon Biersch coming in here, which is I think it's going to be a good show. I'm excited about that.
Me too.
What about the week after that, John? What do we got going on?
What do we have coming? We have a Pyramid Brewery.
Oh, that's right, Pyramid.
Yeah.
Big brewery on the West Coast. Big.
No way I didn't know that. It's not like
it's okay.
I ever worked there.
And the week after that we have, do you want me to tell?
It's your commitment already.
Should be leave it in suspense.
Oh, hey, since we're allowed to philander a little bit, some people asked me in the chat room just before the show. I signed in there. Very concerned listeners. I love these guys. I got the radio job in San Francisco.
Oh,
yeah. I got it. I got my first real radio job.
I don't know why that.
Although this is much more real radio, if you ask me, because we get to do what we want here. But yeah, I am now the official, or one of the official board operators at AM 1550 in San Francisco.
So
can you drink beer on the job?
I cannot.
And we can come down and do a show with you?
I'll tell you, I wish we could. As much as our studio is pretty awesome. We got a great studio here. This thing is amazing over in San Francisco. It's a good $200,000-$300,000 studio. Wow. The board alone, like my board here is quite nice. I like it. I'm comfortable with it. You know, it has all the faders and things. That's what I mean by board. It's how I control the microphones, the music.
You turn me off.
It's a good $280 board, some $300 board. This thing, this board that I'm working on in San Francisco is easily $40,000 just for these knobs and buttons. So that's really good. And a lot of the audio, the new audio we got out of today's show, came from me kind of being there and experiencing what they're doing with production. And I got so kind of enthusiastic about it. I came home. I've been working on production all week. I went to John's and borrowed his microphone again and just trying to get things happening. So I think it means good things for the Brewing Network that I got the job there.
Get jacked up. Yeah, baby.
Thanks, Brian.
You know that I'm very proud of you for getting this job?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I've only been out of college for 2 years.
Well, I'm a patient person.
You're doing well.
Been a bartender since.
Danielle is excited.
Yeah. I'm very excited.
By the way, I don't make any money, but
it doesn't matter.
I do make a little money. It's a small amount of money.
He's working on it.
We're all there.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I got to play our closer song, of course, because we always do. But after that, I'm going to play a song for Oz's wife.
You didn't tell us now what the concern in the chat room was about your radio job.
Oh, no, I didn't say it. They just asked if I got it or not.
Oh,
the
really?
The concern was if I got it. Yeah.
How nice.
So I was answering the question. I got it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'll play our closer, and then for Oz's wife, I talked to her on the Blue Show, I'm going to play the waifs.
She is not his wife.
Oh, it's his girlfriend.
No, really? It's that common law thing?
Really? I didn't know that. I thought that was his...
There's no common law
they
in
keep
California.
repeating it, that she's not his wife.
They're in Australia, these ones. I didn't know that. Is she mad at me because I keep saying that?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
That's probably why she's having a bad day. I'm twisting the knife. She's like, yeah, I'm not his wife. Yeah.
No, I think she doesn't want to be his wife, actually.
Oh, well,
that's more the case.
If you go to the forum and look a picture at him, you can understand that.
So that's a thing about that hatchet in her hand.
Yeah.
Or the bag of salt, rock salt.
Okay, well, for Miss Moo Moo Pants, for Oz's girlfriend, and her name's Diana. I ought to just refer to her as Di and not Oz's girlfriend or anything else. I'm gonna play the waifs for Di after our closer song, Long Story Short. Brian, thanks again. I appreciate you coming in. Hope to have you back.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, good show, everybody. I didn't turn you off. How come? What happened to your?
No, I don't know. You just want more cakes of beer. That's why you want me back.
Yeah. Just wondering what happened to your microphone. All right, so we'll be back next week with Gordon Biersch. Do you know what our tasting is next week already, John?
Pyramid.
We're tasting Pyramid what?
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
No, they're still arguing about
tasting
it.
Pyramid with Gordon Biersch?
Yeah.
All right, I'll put it up on the website.
Yes, we are. Okay, we're good.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes, we are.
A Pyramid beer. I will post it on the website and send out a newsletter. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you later.
Pale ale is a friend of mine, and I sure like good barley wine. Chocolate porter, cherry stout, don't you know what I am talking about? Don't you give me that American crude, boys, I want a real homebrew. Homebrew, don't you really love it? Homebrew, can't get enough of it. Homebrew, it blows my mind. I love homebrew all the time. Yeah, I think I have me, well, I have me one right now. Should know how to get down. Double and triple on my best friend. I think I'll have them all over again. But don't you give me that American crude. Boys, I want a real homebrew. Homebrew, don't you really love that homebrew? Can't get enough of it. Homebrew, it blows my mind. I love homebrew all of the time. Yeah, I think I'll have me, well, I'll have me one right now. Give me a wheat beer on a hot summer day. A bark will do me when the skies are gray. I'll take a Belgian brew anytime, and the women think the lambic fine. But don't you give me that American crude, boys, I want a real home brew. Home brew, don't you really love it that a home brew? Can't get enough of it. Home brew, it blows my mind. I love home brew all of the time. Yeah, I think I'll have me, well, I'm the one right now. Cherry stout, yeah, you know what I am talking about. But don't you give me that American crude, boys, I want a real home brew. Home brew, don't you really love it, that home brew? Can't get enough of it. Home brew, it blows my mind.